Chapter 1959. Don't worry. You don't have to think about it. Sikong Chuyu squatted down to support Night Sorrow. After stabilizing himself, Night Sorrow stood up. I'm sorry. I really can't remember. Give me some time. After speaking, Night Sorrow flashed and left. He couldn't face the current situation. Why most Q new chapter Lin Piao Miao brought Night Sorrow to the lake beside the city in the sky and boarded a wooden boat. This was your favorite place in the past. Fourth brother, Lord Father is giving us a lot of pressure. Yi Lingxi said to Yi Xiaoluo in the mansion. Indeed. Father's aura is much stronger than before. Yi Xiaoluo said. Aren't you the emperor? You always talk about how the second emperor of the Yi clan is. Now you know how much pressure there is? Yi Qingyan said to her brother. Big sister, is there anyone in the world who can compare to father? Don't hurt me. Yi Xiaoluo rubbed his nose. Auntie Aluo, what's your cultivation? What's father's cultivation? Yi Qingyan looked at Datura and asked. I'm an emperor, but I can't see your father's cultivation. You can ask your auntie Piao Miao later. Everyone, be careful. Don't casually approach your father. Don't let strangers approach him. If your father goes crazy, the consequences will be severe. Datura didn't want any tragedy to happen. Father used to be very gentle. He won't become like this, right? Yi Xiaolei said. Your father came to the mansion this time because of human relations. He came to visit your parents. Relationship? He has no memory. If someone makes him unhappy or someone he doesn't know approaches. Datura didn't finish his sentence, but everyone understood. Auntie, you're talking about me. Father can still feel familiar with my brothers and sisters. The only person he doesn't know is me. Yi Lingxi said bitterly. If you want to go visit him in the future, I'll take you. Yi Qingyan said with a smile. Night Sorrow's return, even without his memories, was a joyous occasion for the Yi clan. Lying on the wooden boat of the city in the sky, Night Sorrow rested. He could not bear too much burden on his soul because the soul fragments had just fused together. Lin Piao Miao was in charge of taking care of Night Sorrow. Because her cultivation was high, if anyone angered Night Sorrow, she would be able to control the situation. In order to reduce the burden on Night Sorrow's soul, the others didn't go to see Night Sorrow, because no matter who went to Night Sorrow, he would think and search for memories. Lin Piao Miao didn't let Night Sorrow think about the past, but she often told Night Sorrow about the situation in the celestial realm. Without having to think about the past, Night Sorrow wouldn't feel tired. In 700 years, the situation in the celestial realm didn't change much, but one force was uprooted, the Flying Serpent Clan. The 100 Races Alliance sent an ultimatum to the Flying Serpent Clan, but the Flying Serpent Clan didn't reply. This infuriated King Yawu, who had been suppressing his anger all this time. He didn't even use the people of the Heavenly Desolate City to wipe out the Flying Serpent Clan. The Flying Serpent Clan no longer existed in the celestial realm. After the Black Dragons received the Golden Dragon King's message, there was no reply, and their whereabouts were unknown. Even divination didn't give a clear result. It was as if they had disappeared into thin air in the celestial realm. At this moment, far away from the Heavenly Desolate City, near the Nirvana Ocean, Emo Tianji looked in the direction of the Heavenly Desolate City with her hands behind her back. Behind her stood Long Zhe. After Emo Tianji recovered from the after-effects of burning essence blood, she found the Black Dragons. After some discussion and negotiation, the dragons left with her and hid in the Heavenly Desolate. Prepare for war. Once I break through, we will attack Xingyue City and occupy the 9-domain world, Emo Tianji said to Long Zhe. Sure, but this is equivalent to declaring war with the 100 Races Alliance. Is it worth it? Long Zhe asked. Whether it's worth it or not, I will consider it. Remember what you promised me. Emo Tianji turned around and glanced at Long Zhe. Let's fight. But please don't forget your promise. Long Zhe turned and left. Emo Tianji snorted coldly. She had to borrow the power of the Black Dragons. Otherwise, there would be no place for her in the celestial realm. 700 years in the real world. Emo Tianji recovered from her injuries. However, her cultivation didn't make much progress. Because she burned her essence blood, her body's cultivation potential was damaged. Currently, she was still at the peak of the 8-star Emperor realm. She hadn't entered the 9-star Emperor realm, which was the peak of the Emperor realm. However, Mo Tianji felt that it wouldn't take long for her to enter the 9-star Emperor realm. At that time, she would bring the Black Dragons to take over Xingyue City and invade the 9-domain world. Then, she would occupy the 9-domain world and make it her territory. Regarding the 9-domain world, Mo Tianji combined the information given by Long Zhe and the results of her investigation. She was sure that the 9-domain world wasn't simple. Knight Sorrow sailed the boat on the lake every day. Sometimes, the children would come to drink tea with him. Although he couldn't remember the past, Knight Sorrow enjoyed the feeling of being with his children. Among the 5 children, Yi Lingxi and Knight Sorrow's relationship grew the fastest. Yi Qingyan, Yi Yujun, and the others all had deep marks in their hearts. Therefore, they always looked back on the past. However, Yi Lingxi didn't. She and Knight Sorrow's past was a blank. Even if Knight Sorrow had memories, they had to start from nothing. Father, you don't remember Big Brother and Big Sister, but you remember me. After you recover your memories, will you remember Big Brother and Big Sister and then forget about me? Yi Lingxi poured a cup of tea for Knight Sorrow and said, I don't think so. Actually, some things in my memories can't be erased. Although I can't remember some things from the past, the familiar feeling is still there. Knight Sorrow said, That's good. Father, it hasn't been easy for me. When Big Brother and Big Sister were young, they didn't have much time to see you, but you did give them some pointers. However, I didn't even get to see you once. The only thing I saw was the statue on Danding Cliff in the Medicine Valley. I tried to find your shadow in the statue. Yi Lingxi whispered. I'm sorry. Some things really can't be predicted. Originally, I went to get a title, but I didn't get one. I almost died in there. Knight Sorrow sighed and patted Yi Lingxi's shoulder. He felt very guilty. As time went on and after a period of recovery, Knight Sorrow's soul fragment had completely condensed. He had recovered a lot and could think about some things without any problems. That Mo Tianji hasn't done anything for 700 years. It seems that she's hibernating. She wants to do something ruthless. My memory is still a problem. Knight Sorrow looked at Lin Piaomiao and said, Can you feel the 9 realms doppelganger? Lin Piaomiao looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. Yes. Knight Sorrow nodded. He could feel it, but he couldn't communicate with it. This was Knight Sorrow's current situation. Chapter 1960. Lin Piaomiao took out the memory crystal ball that was once forbidden in Heavenly Desolate City and was still forbidden now. It contained the battle scenes of Yi Shang killing the 5 demon-winged imperial emperors. She often showed it to Yi Shang. That battle contained all the essence of Yi Shang's battle techniques before he became an imperial emperor. However, Knight Sorrow still had many techniques that he hadn't learned back then. For example, mixed Yuan spear art, Ling Tian spear art, etc. All this time, Heavenly Desolate City didn't allow people to see Knight Sorrow's battle memory crystal ball. It was the city lord's idea. Too much attention would cause some fate power, which would harm Knight Sorrow's soul. Now that Lin Piaomiao showed it to Knight Sorrow himself, there was no problem. Lin Piaomiao even found someone to divine some of Knight Sorrow's battle scenes for Knight Sorrow to familiarize himself with. Knight Sorrow's battle strength was slowly recovering. At the same time, he discovered that the life force in his body was very active. The Grand Elder had told Lin Piaomiao about the taboo attribute and taboo energy. Lin Piaomiao also told Knight Sorrow about it. Knight Sorrow only had one era. After that era, all sorts of calamities would come. 100 billion years should be enough. If I can't endure it, then it's because I'm not capable. At least in these 100 billion years, my world will be wonderful. Hearing Lin Piaomiao's words, Yi Shang smiled. This is only what I learned from the Grand Elder. In fact, no one else knows about your taboo attribute and taboo energy. Lin Piaomiao couldn't help Knight Sorrow in this aspect. Looking at Lin Piaomiao, Knight Sorrow released his heaven and earth aura. Void, destruction, space-time, death, and even life aura changed in the air. Seeing Knight Sorrow's heaven and earth aura change, Lin Piaomiao was shocked. That was because Knight Sorrow's situation was different from what she had estimated. Knight Sorrow's highest attribute wasn't the void attribute, but the destruction attribute. It had already reached the peak of 80%, the space-time attribute at 80%, the death attribute at 40%, and the life attribute at 10%. Under normal circumstances, Night Sorrow's leakless body would naturally restrain his aura. Lin Piaomiao knew that Night Sorrow was a middle-class emperor, but she didn't expect him to be at the peak of the middle-class emperor rank. He could enter the peak emperor rank at any time. N Forever, Are Forever and 6 Red G novels. Apart from the void attribute, the rest is made up of the forbidden attribute and the reincarnation attribute? Night Sorrow said as he retracted the void attribute. He then combined the other attributes. Lin Piaomiao stared blankly at the Night Sorrow's force of heaven and earth rippling in all directions. Suppression. Even though Night Sorrow wasn't targeting her, she could still feel the pressure. Even though she was the same as Night Sorrow and also cultivated the supreme void attribute, she still felt the pressure. Withdrawing the heavenly Tao force, Night Sorrow waved his left hand and smoothed everything out. How did you cultivate it? Lin Piaomiao didn't expect that after sleeping for 700 years, Night Sorrow had already grasped the true forbidden attribute of heaven and earth. He was a bit unfamiliar with it, but that was because Night Sorrow hadn't officially cultivated it. The Black Lotus of Destruction is the reincarnation attribute Nirvana Flames. It charged into my divine sea and tangled with the reincarnation attribute energy for 700 years. After 700 years of struggling between life and death, I naturally comprehended it. Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow didn't remember what happened before the Nirvana reincarnation flames entered his body, but he knew what happened afterwards. Your soul hasn't fully recovered, so don't think too much. It will be too tiring. Lin Piaomiao's heart ached. Night Sorrow described it casually, but after 700 years of struggle, she could imagine the pain. Lin Piaomiao asked about Night Sorrow's battle doppelganger. Night Sorrow's doppelganger was still in his dantian and hadn't woken up. It's been hard on you all these years. Night Sorrow reached out to comfort Lin Piaomiao, but he couldn't bring his hand down. Aren't you the same? Lin Piaomiao grabbed Night Sorrow's hand and placed it on her face. As he recuperated, Night Sorrow's condition got better and better. Looking at the memory crystal ball and listening to Lin Piaomiao's narration, Night Sorrow's combat ability slowly returned. While cultivating his battle technique, Night Sorrow also integrated his new domain. This time, he didn't have any scruples and studied the forbidden reincarnation domain. Sometimes, Night Sorrow would go to the bamboo forest peak to stay for a few days. Gong Xian gave a strict order that no one was allowed to go to the bamboo forest peak. Even he didn't go because he knew about Night Sorrow's situation. Night Sorrow's 2 disciples, Ning Yun and July, also didn't go to the bamboo forest peak because Night Sorrow needed peace and quiet. Only his wives accompanied him. Night Sorrow, it's actually good that you don't have any memories. Our relationship can start again and we can walk the path of happiness again, Sikong Chuyu said with a smile as he looked at Night Sorrow, who had finished cultivating his intense spear art. Silly romantic. We brought him back in time. If he fell into someone else's hands, who knows whose man he would become? Yang Lei glanced at Sikong Chuyu and said. That won't happen. 13 isn't that kind of person. Now that he knows we are his wives and our children are already big, he doesn't even dare to hold our hands, Always said with a smile. Night Sorrow just smiled embarrassedly. Although his memories were gone, the sense of familiarity was still there. Sister Xian. Can you do me a favor? Night Sorrow looked at Lin Piaomiao and asked. I told you a few days ago that you don't need to be polite. Just tell me what you need, Lin Piaomiao said. Then, Night Sorrow told her what he wanted. He wanted books and information about the reincarnation attribute and primordial attribute. Lin Piaomiao's clone went to Desolate City and met the Grand Elder. The Grand Elder brought her to meet the Desolate City's City Lord. After asking about Night Sorrow's situation, the City Lord nodded and said, Show him this book. Now that he has the taboo attribute, he will definitely have to endure the heavenly tribulation after an era. Now that he is working hard to understand and cultivate, he is building his foundation in advance. But you can't. You can't cultivate. The City Lord handed a book to Lin Piaomiao and made a request at the same time. Thank you, City Lord. After Night Sorrow fully recovers, I will bring him here to thank you. Thank you for your help in finding the medicine, Lin Piaomiao said. Others may not know, but Misty, don't you know? He is the Ren Huang of our 100 Races Alliance. We didn't announce it because we, the old guys, can handle it. We don't want him to feel pressured. Any member of the 100 Races Alliance will do anything for the rise of the Ran Huang, the city lord of Tianhuang City said. The Grand Elder handed Lin Piaomiao a bottle of elixirs. They were elixirs to help with the cultivation of soul power. He hoped that Knight Sorrow would recover his memories as soon as possible. Last time, the Black Lotus of Destruction appeared before the certification of the title was completed. The certification of the title hasn't been completed yet. When Knight Sorrow has time, he can complete the certification and see what title he has, the city lord said. I'm already traumatized, but I'm also looking forward to seeing what his title is, the Grand Elder said. Chapter 1961. Mo Tianji was in seclusion and was trying to break through to the Peak Emperor realm. As long as she reached the Peak Emperor realm, she was confident that only a limited number of people in the 100 Race Alliance could threaten her. Ordinary sect elders would die if they went against her because she was in the 7th Emperor Calamity realm. Knight Sorrow's world was very simple. A world without memories meant that there were no troubles. He focused on the reincarnation attribute and the reincarnation heaven and earth trend. Lin Piaomiao didn't let Knight Sorrow study the origin attribute because there were too many variables. Once he grasped two forbidden attributes, it was hard to say what the heavenly Tao's judgment would be. She was afraid that something would happen to Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow could understand and respect Lin Piaomiao and the others' wishes. He couldn't disrespect them. If she didn't let him study, he wouldn't study. Would he be angry? Either he would beat her up or he would listen obediently. How could Knight Sorrow hurt Lin Piaomiao and the others? He couldn't bear to. Ignoring the familiarity in his memories, he could feel the affection and care from the girls. Every day was peaceful and Knight Sorrow felt very good. The other 9 domain origin bodies appeared and communicated with Knight Sorrow. When the Samsara Nirvana flame had attacked, the 9 domain origins had been shaken to the point of losing consciousness. However, they had instinctively protected Yishang's soul, so even though Yishang's soul had been shattered, the fragments were still intact. After the 9 domain origin bodies woke up, they immediately protected Knight Sorrow's clones. As for when the 9 domain clones would wake up, the 9 domain origin bodies told Knight Sorrow that once his main body's soul was complete, he would be able to wake up the clones that were in self-defense mode. Knight Sorrow was confident. Furthermore, he was assured that when the clones woke up, the main body would absorb the memories of the clones. However, the main body's memories wouldn't disappear. This was one of Knight Sorrow's worries. If the main body's memories were to disappear, the reincarnation heaven and earth trend that he worked so hard to comprehend would be gone. Look at the original chapter. BV. On the other hand, Knight Sorrow didn't want to lose his relationship with his wives. After all, it was the most precious part of his life. Taking the soul replenishing pills from the Grand Elder, Knight Sorrow cultivated every day. However, he didn't use the time acceleration treasure as he didn't want to leave his current life. The 9 domain world started developing again. This shocked many people. Knight Sorrow had disappeared for 700 years and the 9 domain world was silent for 700 years. Now that the 9 domain world had returned to its original development path, it meant that Knight Sorrow was about to appear. So, of course, no one was allowed to enter. Yishang cultivated without any distractions. He had fused a new domain. It was the reincarnation domain. With the power of merit, it was extremely powerful. Not to mention the strength of the domain, just the aura was unbearable for Xue Shi and the others. Over the past 700 years, the Knight family had worked very hard. Knight Sorrow's wife was at the low stage king realm. Knight Sorrow's fighting strength was changing every day. His innate physique was the ethereal body and had high compatibility with various attributes. His cultivation was much easier. However, he couldn't increase his cultivation because he was at the middle stage emperor rank bottleneck. If he didn't break through, his cultivation wouldn't be able to increase. Realms limited cultivation. This was the rule of cultivation. Lin Piaomiao and the others tried to persuade Knight Sorrow to go into seclusion. However, Knight Sorrow didn't go. He wasn't in a hurry and just wanted to spend more time with his family. A few days ago, through the conversations of the women, he knew that he was always in seclusion and neglected his wife. Lin Piaomiao and the others didn't say anything about Knight Sorrow's decision. They didn't understand Knight Sorrow's world. It was hard for a person with no memories to understand. 13. Weren't you a cultivation maniac? If you had any time, you would use it to increase your strength. Yonglei looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Because of that, I lost a lot of opportunities to spend time with you. I won't do it again." Night Sorrow said as he chopped wood and boiled water. "Did you remember something?" Lin Piao looked and asked. "There was a moment when I was hit by the reincarnation nirvana fire. I remembered that moment. Back then, I felt very regretful and unwilling. On the path of life, it's right to move towards your goal, but you can't miss the scenery along the way." Night Sorrow said. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Lin Piao and the others knew that after this incident, Night Sorrow's attitude towards life might change. Night Sorrow felt that he was in a good state and could accept some things. After that, he left the bamboo forest peak and returned to the city in the sky. Sometimes he would accompany his parents and sometimes he would accompany his children. As for the situation outside, Night Sorrow wasn't worried. In the past, he felt that he had to work hard. But now, he felt that his previous thinking was right, but he had neglected his family. As the Merit Emperor, he had to be responsible for the billions of creatures in the world. But the premise was that he had to take good care of his family. His family was also a part of the billions of creatures. Night Sorrow's change also affected his family. They didn't go out much. On this day, Yi Yujun brought back a girl. She was the little princess of the Sword Dynasty, a top force in the Xuanhuan Great World. Night Sorrow didn't ask about his children's relationships, but he made a request for his 5 children. That was, the other party had to be the king. Why? Night Sorrow didn't look down on low-level practitioners, nor was it because of some sectarian bias. He just didn't want his children's other half to die because of a lack of lifespan. That would make his children sad. Yi Qingyan and the others naturally understood Night Sorrow's intention. They all understood Night Sorrow's painstaking efforts. "Father, when you're all better, you can go and propose marriage for me," Yi Yujun said. "You're so useless. Do you have to go to father for such a trivial matter?" Yi Qingyan glanced at her brother. "They said that the genius disciples of the family can't marry outside. I went to propose marriage but was rejected. I was kicked out." Yi Yujun said. "Do they know your identity and cultivation?" Sikong Chuyu looked at his son and asked. "No. Father, didn't you say that I shouldn't show off outside and should rely on myself for everything?" Yi Yujun said in a low voice. "Does Ziyin know?" Sikong Chuyu glanced at the girl beside his son and asked. "I don't know. Ziyin didn't ask me either." Yi Yujun held the girl's hand and shook his head. "Ziyin, I'm sorry. This guy's brain doesn't seem right." Yi Qingyan pulled Qin Ziyin, who was in a daze, and said. Qin Ziyin was a high-level heaven monarch of the Sword Dynasty. She was young and was a prodigy of the Black-Yellow Great World. She met Yi Yujun in the world of reincarnation, and they became good friends after a fight. Then they talked about marriage. She believed that Yi Yujun's background was clean, so she didn't ask him in detail. Yi Yujun was sunny, kind, and had a strong gentleman's style. This time, Qin Ziyin was forced by Yi Yujun to meet his parents. But when she arrived at the city in the sky, she found that there were several martial emperors whose cultivation she couldn't see clearly. She said. Chapter 1962. Second brother. Didn't you say that your surname is Yi? We don't need the surname Yi to scare people, but we can't let people look down on us, right? Yi Xiaolei said. I did say that. Her grandfather said that even the surname Yi is not allowed. Unless Night Sorrow comes to propose. Yi Yujun said softly. Yi Shang is proposing marriage? All right, I'll take care of it. Ziyin, stay in this city in the sky for a few days. My body hasn't been very good recently, and I need to rest, Night Sorrow said to Qin Ziyin. Thank you for your hospitality, Uncle. Uncle's body isn't feeling well, so please rest for a while. Qin Ziyin bowed to Night Sorrow. She wasn't stupid. She knew about the 9-domain world. There was only one family in the 9-domain world where kings and emperors' clans were everywhere. It's nothing. I just slept for a few more years, and my body is weak. Listen up, I didn't ask you to do anything about our Yi clan's traditions. You've all done well. What did I work so hard for in the past few years? It was so that the people of the 9-domain world, the children of the Yi clan, wouldn't be inferior to anyone. Is it wrong to be born in the Yi clan? I'm too lazy to go and look at people's faces. Chuyu, inform the Sword Dynasty that Ziyin is in our 9-domain world. If they want her, they can come here themselves. Night Sorrow said and landed on the wooden boat on the lake. Mother, I didn't do things properly, and made father angry, Yi Yujun said apologetically. Haha. It's nothing. In fact, no matter what family tradition or rules, in your father's eyes, it's not as important as your happiness. Alright, Ziyin still isn't used to it. Bring her around. Sikong Chuyu patted her son's shoulder and said. Yi Yujun pulled Qin Ziyin and left for Night Moon City. He was still thinking about Night Sorrow's words. Yujun, why didn't you say this when you went to propose? No matter how snobbish my grandpa is, he won't offend the Yi family, Qin Ziyin said to Yi Yujun. She didn't blame Yi Yujun, but she found it unbelievable. Back then, when the Sword Dynasty was proposing marriage, his grandfather's words were very unpleasant and even insulting. However, Yi Yujun did not say anything else. In the Yi family, us brothers and sisters have never used the Yi family or father's name to do anything. Father is father. Father's reputation was not easy to come by. We can't ruin it. Isn't it shameful to have to use your father's name to get a wife? Of course, it's still the same in the end. Yi Yujun said with a smile. Knowing about the Yi clan, Qin Ziyin pondered for a moment before saying, It's not hard to get in touch with your family. Yes, eldest sister's words are the most venomous, but she loves the four of us the most. Third sister is the most talkative and is the happiest person in the Yi clan. Fourth brother Yi is the best at acting and is the most courageous. However, he has the capital and is the second emperor of the Yi clan. For the sake of the Yi clan, he is willing to risk everything. Fifth brother Yi is more introverted because before this period of time, he has never seen his father in the 700 years since he was born, Yi Yujun said. What's going on? The domain master's reputation in the primal chaos realm was soaring. He was also an overlord in the celestial realm. Later on, there was no news of him and the transmission array to the celestial realm was closed, Qin Ziyin said. All this time, the problem with Night Sorrow had been a secret. Whether it was in the celestial realm or the 9-domain world, no one mentioned it. Qin Ziyin naturally didn't know either. However, she was about the same age as Yi Yujun and naturally knew about the Night Sorrow of that era. Father was attacked by the virtuous emperor's calamity, the Black Lotus of Destruction, and fell into a deep sleep for 700 years. He only woke up in the last year. In the past, us brothers and sisters in the Yi clan knew not to look for mother or aunt if there were any problems because father's wives were very strict. Instead, we looked for father to solve everything. However now, Yi Yujun was very sad. In his heart, father was a huge mountain. It was the same now. However, because father had no memories, there were many things that he didn't dare to say or mention. Night Sorrow sailed the boat in the lake and no one disturbed him. Now, even Lin Piaomiao didn't follow him. Because even without his memories, Night Sorrow could take care of himself normally. During dinner, Yi Yujun and Qin Ziyin calculated the time to go back. This made Qin Ziyin very puzzled. Looking at the large round table in the mansion and the scene of everyone in the Yi clan except for Night Sorrow, Qin Ziyin was a little stunned. There are more and more people. In the future, people will marry and get married. How long can this Yi clan custom last? Yu Qing looked around and said, Grandma, grandson will get a large table later. It's more convenient, Yi Yujun said. No need. You've all grown up. Can you stay here forever? We won't force it. Anyway, when your father has nothing to do, he will always be with us, Yu Qing said. Yi Wuyo ate and didn't say anything. Because the Yi clan was developing, it was normal for them to have more children. How could they live together forever? Sikong Chuyu sent a letter to the Sword Dynasty in the Xuanhuan Great World. It was signed by Night Sorrow. After reading the letter and sending the messenger from the 9 regions world away, Qin Shanga was a little dumbfounded. He didn't expect to meet someone with the surname Yi, who was Night Sorrow's son. The letter was very clear. The 9 regions world Sky City would keep Qin Ziyin as a guest. In the letter, Sikong Chuyu wrote in Night Sorrow's tone that he wasn't feeling well recently. When he was free, he would go and ask for her hand in marriage. If he felt that it was inappropriate, he could go and pick her up. Pick her up? Qin Shanga knew that he couldn't. The tone of the letter wasn't very good. Qin Shanga could understand. At that time, he had insulted Yi Yujun. It was normal for the Yi clan's letter to be bad. Qin Shanga had no choice but to find the Sea King Palace's master and tell him about this. Hey! Don't you know that you shouldn't bully a young man because he is poor? Of course, some people follow the trend and use the surname Yi. However, the Yi clan of the 9 regions world is the most promising. Their son is well-mannered. He didn't say anything after being scolded, but his father and mother couldn't take it lying down. After knowing the whole story, the Sea King Palace's master sighed. Since they were all from the Xuanhuan Great World, the Sea King Palace's master couldn't ignore it. He took Qin Shanga to Xingyue City to find Tang Jianfeng. Above, how do you want to meet him? The Domain Lord had some problems a few years ago. He just recovered recently. The Domain Lord's wife told us, who are guarding the teleportation array between Xingyue City and the 9 regions world, that the Sky City won't be receiving anyone recently. Tang Jianfeng was speechless. The Chaotic Realm and the Celestial Realm couldn't wait to be relatives with the Yi clan. The only one who wouldn't be polite was probably Qin Shanga. Night Sorrow lay on the wooden boat and drifted with the waves. His soul power was constantly communicating with his 9 regions world clone. He could contact them but couldn't wake them up. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow left the lake in a flash and returned to the Sky City. Then, he took the teleportation array and arrived at the 9 regions world. He felt that communication wouldn't work. Then, he would try using his soul power face-to-face. The guards guarding the teleportation array bowed and greeted Night Sorrow when they saw him. Night Sorrow nodded and entered the heaven-sealing Great Hall. At this time, his 9 regions world clone was lying in the heaven-sealing Great Hall. Chapter 1963. Night Sorrow's soul power was blocked when it entered the doppelganger's deity sea. That was the doppelganger's instinctive defense. However, because the soul power came from the same source, this defense and obstruction only appeared for a moment and was ineffective. After probing, Night Sorrow realized that the doppelganger's deity sea was still. There were no fluctuations. To put it bluntly, it was a living dead. Night Sorrow's soul power circulated and drove the doppelganger's deity sea to circulate. He tried to wake the doppelganger up. Night Sorrow still had a battle doppelganger in his dantian. However, that doppelganger was severely injured like the original body. It had no memories like the original body. Now, only the 9 domain world doppelganger would be able to remember everything. Following Night Sorrow's soul power, the doppelganger's deity sea started to circulate. When the 9 domain world doppelganger's deity sea started to circulate, some images were transmitted to Night Sorrow's original body. From hunting the black-scaled beast in Bamboo Garden Village, to hunting the undead creatures in the dark space, to the wedding night with Sikong Chuyu, all these scenes appeared in Night Sorrow's deity sea. Lin Piao Miao and the rest knew that Night Sorrow had arrived at the heaven-sealing hall and followed him. It wasn't that they were worried. They wanted to let Night Sorrow know that no matter what, they would always be by his side. Taking out the Clear Sky Pagoda, Night Sorrow's soul power wrapped around the doppelganger and entered the Clear Sky Pagoda. In the 50-fold time acceleration, the doppelganger's deity sea started to circulate. Lin Piao Miao and the rest waited outside. Night Sorrow woke up the doppelganger in the time acceleration. If an ordinary person could live a normal life, they might not value their memories that much. However, Night Sorrow didn't see it that way. Having the past was a perfect life. For some cultivation techniques, what one comprehended now was different from what one comprehended in the past. Tang Jianfeng had no choice. He was the representative of the Xianhuang world. Qin Shanga had offended the Night Clan, so he had to deal with this matter. Tang Jianfeng brought Qin Shanga to the 9-domain world through the teleportation array. When they exited the array, they saw Lin Piao Miao and the rest. Seeing Lin Piao Miao and the others, Tang Jianfeng apologized. Qin Shanga also apologized. It's not a big deal. It's just that your attitude isn't right. Our Yi clan's disciples do things properly and according to etiquette. Why were you chased out? Sikong Chuyu felt indignant for his son. This is my fault. That is why I am here today to apologize, Qin Shanga said. There's no need for an apology. Our Yi clan wants to marry Ziyin as our daughter-in-law. If we embarrass you, she will also feel uncomfortable. We don't care about your Qin family. We have to consider the feelings of the Yi family's daughter-in-law. Let's forget about this matter. Also, we'll see when we can arrange the marriage of the two children. As for letting the children's father propose, he's currently recuperating in the heaven-sealing Great Hall. If you insist on letting him go, then you'll have to wait. Xikong Chuyu looked at Qin Shanga and said. At this time, Tang Jianfeng and the Sea King Manor's lord looked at Qin Shanga. If Qin Shanga still didn't understand the situation and said that he wanted to wait for Night Sorrow to propose, then they would apologize to Xikong Chuyu and the others and leave. There's no need for that. Let Xian's parents come to the nine-domain world to discuss this matter later. Qin Shanga was very understanding this time. Since the Yi clan had made their stand, how could he not accept it? This made Yi Yujun and Qin Ziyin, who had also come to accompany their mother, very happy. Qin Ziyin heard Xikong Chuyu's words and felt a little emotional. The Yi clan didn't care about the Qin clan. They didn't embarrass the Qin clan because they didn't want to embarrass her. Recently, Night Sorrow has been a little problematic. We don't have time to entertain him. Yujun, bring the guests around and entertain them. Xikong Chuyu spoke the truth. She wasn't in the mood to entertain guests. The people in front of the heaven-sealing Great Hall had all left. Only Night Sorrow's wives were left. Update 1. They weren't worried when Night Sorrow entered the heaven-sealing Great Hall. They were just hoping that when Night Sorrow came out, he would see them. Night Sorrow woke up his doppelganger under the 50-fold time acceleration. The doppelganger's soul memory gradually merged with the main body. 4 days later, Night Sorrow came out. Under the time acceleration, the main body's soul power drove the doppelganger's soul power to operate for more than half a year. Currently, the doppelganger's soul could operate on its own. It was only a matter of time before it woke up. Seeing Night Sorrow come out, the women who were originally sitting cross-legged stood up. Night Sorrow walked forward and gave each of them a hug. Night Sorrow, you've recovered? Xikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow with a face full of surprise. During these days, although Night Sorrow knew who he was, he didn't have any intimate actions with anyone. He didn't even hold hands with his wives. Now that he took the initiative to hug, it meant that he remembered everything from the past. Yes. After coming into contact with the doppelganger's soul, I've already obtained all the past memories. 700 years. I've made you guys suffer in the 700 years I wasn't here. Night Sorrow said apologetically. It's nothing. It's good that you've recovered. Xuexi looked at Night Sorrow and said, it's been hard on that child Lingxi. Night Sorrow looked at Xuexi. He was the most apologetic towards Xuexi and her mother. The few of them returned to the city in the sky. Night Sorrow accompanied his parents and Father Gu to talk. During these years, his parents and Father Gu had suffered a lot. He was Father Gu's adopted son and was his everything. At night, Night Sorrow went to the lake in the city in the sky to cultivate. Now that his memories had returned, his past battle experience and recent comprehension had to be combined. Peak middle-class Emperor rank. He could enter peak Emperor rank at any time. The increase in realm was his harvest from the 700 years of sleep. Of course, the biggest harvest was the control of reincarnation heaven and earth. However, the level was still rather low, only around 50%. Reincarnation heaven and earth momentum was only around 50%, but the domain it formed could suppress an emperor's domain. The energy in Night Sorrow's body could exist alone or fuse into forbidden energy. Night Sorrow didn't want to go out as he wanted to stay with his family. However, Lin Piaomiao meant that Night Sorrow should go out for a walk because the Desolation City Lord, King Yawu, and the Grand Elder were all worried about him. Other than that, the brothers in the God-slaying team were all worried about him. The soldiers in the First Army were the same. The people in the Humanitarian League were also waiting for his return. Go! Everything is fine at home. There's nothing to worry about. You've slept for 700 years and there are many people who care about you. You have to go take a look. Yi Wuyo said. After spending another 2 days with his family, Night Sorrow, Lin Piaomiao, Dachura, and the clones of his wives all left the 9 regions world. Other than Lin Piaomiao, the others were all members of the God-slaying team. Night Sorrow had slept for 700 years while the God-slaying team had fought in the celestial realm for 700 years. They already had a decent reputation. The lowest cultivation in the God-slaying team was the king and the highest was the emperor rank. There were also emperors and emperors. Which faction could stop such a combination? The god-slaying team's base was the Night Moon Villa in the Misty Dynasty. Last time when Night Sorrow returned, they didn't see Night Sorrow because they didn't want to increase the pressure on Night Sorrow's soul. This time, when Night Sorrow returned, the god-slaying team gathered because they knew that Night Sorrow's situation had improved. Chapter 1964. 13th Brother. The days when you weren't around were very boring. There was no excitement in life, Tianyu said. What I'm concerned about now is how's your Peng technique going? Night Sorrow looked at Tianyu and asked. It's done, Tianyu said softly. Okay, I'll go out and make arrangements for you, Night Sorrow said with a smile. After sleeping for 700 years, my cultivation didn't fall behind and even improved greatly. Other than Captain, no one else would dare to think about it, Long Jin said with a smile. Long Jin and Tianyu were members of the First Army, but their clones were there. Their true bodies were sometimes in the god-slaying team and sometimes in their families. Their cultivation had improved a lot over the years. Long Jin was already an emperor, and Tianyu was a peak emperor who could become an emperor at any time. Blood Emperor Zhu Tan was a 3-star emperor, which was very rare. A few members of the god-slaying team had also reached rank 9. Liang Yu and Yun Huang, whom Night Sorrow thought the most highly of, were already emperors, and so was Qin Zhen. The others were either heaven monarchs or monarchs. Brothers, you're all doing well. I'm relieved. I've slept for 700 years and left you guys for 700 years. I'm very sorry. Tonight, I'll drink with you guys as an apology, Night Sorrow said. 700 years. After spending 700 years in the real world, the god-slaying team's cultivation had improved. They could now establish a foothold in the celestial realm and had made a name for themselves. Night Sorrow called Wu Feng, Song Ning, Lin Qixing, and the others over. They were friends in the past and in the future. Captain, we have a temporary member in the team. Without you, we didn't officially accept him, Long Jin said before drinking. It's fine as long as you approve. Is he not here? Night Sorrow looked around and didn't see any unfamiliar faces. Then, Tianyu left Night Moon Villa and went to Night Sorrow's first residence, which was the current stronghold in the Primal Chaos realm, to pick up a man. The man was wearing black battle clothes and had a battle blade on his back. Blood Knife greets the Region Lord. The man bowed to Night Sorrow. Blood Blade. Night Sorrow muttered. Captain, you should know the former Lord Bloodblade of the Chaos Domain, Liang Yu said. Understood. One of the 2 most outstanding cultivators in the Primal Chaos realm. Night Sorrow nodded at Blood Knife. In the past, in the Primal Chaos Domain, there were 2 masters, Human Sovereign and Blood Knife, but later, they disappeared. Night Sorrow did not expect to see Blood Knife here. Young master, he is my master, Ji Dao said. Very good. From now on, you can live with everyone. There is no need to live outside. By the way, where is the Human Sovereign of our chaotic realm? After making the arrangements, Night Sorrow asked. He died. Back then, the 2 of us came to the celestial realm together. We were determined to become emperors and break the shackles of the world of reincarnation. We went to the Heaven's Vault tribe and cultivated in front of the Heaven's Vault cliff. Later, the Heaven's Vault tribe tried to recruit us. We were unwilling, so they attacked us. He was killed, and I was seriously injured. Later, I escaped to the tribe where Ji Dao was and have been recuperating. It was probably after the Region Lord appeared. Some shackles were broken, and my luck changed. I successfully took this step. After achieving success, the first thing I wanted to do was to go home. Later, I found out about Xingyue City and got to know everyone, Blood Knife said. Back then, he and the Human Sovereign fought for the Haotian Godly Pagoda, and both of them were injured. Neither of them got the Haotian Godly Pagoda when it was broken. Because of this battle they became friends. Heaven's Vault Tribe. Heaven's Vault High Priest. It seems that he has to give an explanation, Yun Huang said. Who can say for sure what's going on in the world? Although the Heaven Vault High Priest's methods can strengthen the Heaven Vault Tribe, his methods are too intense. Sometimes it will cause trouble. Back then I was almost killed by them. Let's talk about this later. Blood Knife, it hasn't been easy for you to wander outside for so many years. In the future, the God-slaying team will be your home. Welcome back. Night Sorrow extended his hand to Blood Knife. After fooling around with his brothers for a night, Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao teleported to the divine capital. They could only go to the divine capital after teleporting to the divine capital. Moreover, Night Sorrow also had to go to the divine capital first because he wanted to visit King Yawu. Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao arrived at the Humanitarian League's headquarters first. Seeing Night Sorrow, Jun Xuanji cried. They had the deepest friendship. Jun Xuanji was very sad that Night Sorrow had encountered an accident. Okay, I'm fine now. You are already a heavenly lord. You just need to take another step and you will become an emperor. Night Sorrow sat down and said with a smile. If I become an emperor, I might have to face some things. I really don't want to make any mistakes, Jun Xuanji said. You are Jun Xuanji. Forever Jun Xuanji. I believe in you. You will take care of everything, Night Sorrow said. Okay. Previous lives have nothing to do with me. I am Jun Xuanji, Night Sorrow's best strategist, Jun Xuanji said. That's too emotional. At this time, a blonde woman entered the Humanitarian League's headquarters. Zhu Jiuyun. When did you come to the Humanitarian League? Night Sorrow was stunned. I came a long time ago. If you don't care about Sister Xuanji, I will. Zhu Jiuyun sat down and said, What are you talking about? Didn't I have some problems? What do you mean by we don't care? Yi Shang glared at Zhu Jiuyun. At this moment, Zhu Jiuyun was a heaven monarch like Jun Xuanji. They were once the most outstanding people in their respective fields. With the help of the great era of the Nine Domains world, they had made some achievements. Where is your golden horn? Night Sorrow looked at Zhu Jiuyun and asked. Don't talk nonsense. Isn't it looking for trouble if you go out with your golden horn? I have already changed my energy and kept it. Don't mention it. It's too scary. Zhu Jiuyun gestured for him to keep quiet. Everything was fine. Night Sorrow was more at ease. He then brought Lin Piaomiao to Yawa Mountain. When Night Sorrow appeared, the people of the City Lord's mansion bowed to greet him. Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao reached the peak of Yawa Mountain. King Yawu was already waiting for them with a smile. Greetings, Martial Uncle. Night Sorrow bowed to King Yawu. Your spirit is good. Have you fully recovered? King Yawu pointed to his head and asked about his memory. Night Sorrow nodded and said that he had fully recovered. You didn't sleep for 700 years for nothing. You were able to raise your cultivation level by almost 2 levels. You are more effective than others. The most valuable thing is that you have comprehended the reincarnation of heaven and earth. You have the forbidden energy. King Yawu was very happy to see that Night Sorrow was doing well. He was very worried at that time. I have made Martial Uncle worry all these years. Night Sorrow sat opposite King Yawu and started brewing tea. You're as skilled at making tea as you were in the past. You're back. You're really back. I'm very relieved. When will you go for the certification? Looking at Yi Shang, who was making tea, King Yawu changed the subject. Chapter 1965. Martial Uncle. This disciple's tolerance is still okay. Normal people would be traumatized after what happened last time. Night Sorrow smiled and said, You won't because you are Night Sorrow. King Yawu was stunned for a moment before smiling. In the past, no one would talk to him like this because Fan Tian was very rigid. However, he felt that this kind of chatting was true communication. Night Sorrow and King Yawu chatted for a while and rested in the thatched cottage on Yawu Mountain for a night. Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao had to leave because there were still many things to do in Heaven Desolate City. King Yawu sent Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao out of Yawu Mountain. He told Night Sorrow that one of his clones was still in Heaven Desolate City, and that he could look for him if he needed anything. Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao teleported towards Heaven Desolate City. It could be said that it was the last stop of this trip because Night Sorrow planned to cultivate in Heaven Desolate City and try to break through to 9-star Emperor, which was peak Emperor rank. Night Sorrow had thought about this problem before. He felt that the Nirvana Tide contained a very complex and diverse heaven and earth momentum, which was more suitable for him. After coming out of the teleportation array, Night Sorrow first went to the Heaven Desolate Tower and bowed. He knew that at the final moment last time, it was the Celestial Realm's origin that destroyed the Black Lotus of Destruction. He wanted to thank the Celestial Realm's origin for saving his life. If you have time, come to the certification space and see this sovereign. The celestial realm's origin's voice echoed in Night Sorrow's divine sea. Soon after, Night Sorrow went to the small spatial world of the Grand Elder's tower. In the small spatial world, he saw the Grand Elder and Heaven Desolate City's City Lord playing chess. "You're back." The Grand Elder pointed at the praying mat on the side to Night Sorrow and Lin Piao. "I'm back." Night Sorrow nodded. He knew how much the Grand Elder cared about his safety at that time. The Grand Elder had been knocked back several times by the energy of the heavenly tribulation, and had been injured to the point of vomiting blood. "You can go for the title certification later. Let's see if there's anything that can stop you from getting a title." The Grand Elder placed the chess piece down heavily. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. It was difficult to get a title, so he had to get one. He wasn't the only one who insisted on this. King Yawu and the Grand Elder also thought the same. "Not bad at all. The new human emperor is really tough." Tran Hung, who had no energy to protect herself, said with a smile. "Didn't the human sovereign also fall in the last reincarnation?" Night Sorrow said in a low voice. "It's not the same. Their luck is different. The human sovereign in the last reincarnation lived for several eras and was in his twilight years. However, you've just risen. You're like the sun rising from the east. Your luck is flourishing." "It's completely different," the mayor said. "Then Night Sorrow understands." After hearing the mayor's explanation, Night Sorrow understood. After sitting for a while, Night Sorrow and Lin Piao left. They came to pay respect to the ancestors. They weren't used to sitting here. When they returned to the mansion, the people from the Humanitarian League were all there. Seeing Reese, Night Sorrow walked over and hugged him. "I'm sorry about what happened last time. I just woke up and didn't know anything, so I was quite alert." "What are you talking about? Would I stoop to the level of an idiot?" Reese laughed and threw out a sentence that made Night Sorrow and the others speechless. However, Reese was right. At that time, Night Sorrow was actually an idiot. Then, Night Sorrow hugged Pu Luo, the Great Demon King, and Fun Tian. They hadn't been together for 700 years, but their brotherhood was still there. Night Sorrow hesitated in front of Yu Zhu. She was a woman. It wasn't appropriate to hug her. However, Yu Zhu generously hugged Night Sorrow. "It's not like you to be so hesitant. When you weren't around, we lacked passion. Our Humanitarian League's gold bricks are about to rust. This means that our 100 Races Alliance's moral level is rising very quickly. Otherwise, you wouldn't be so idle." Night Sorrow smiled. He knew the people from the Humanitarian League. They were all hot-tempered and hated evil. After sitting down, everyone talked about the situation in the past 700 years. Without Night Sorrow, the Humanitarian League had lost its core. Everything was as dull as water. "I think this dullness won't last long. It's been 700 years. That Mo Tianji is probably almost done with her preparations and is about to jump out. This time, she won't be as easy to deal with as before. She might even be a peak emperor. With a peak emperor's cultivation and her realm, she will be very difficult to deal with. Also, the disappearance of the black dragons might be related to her." Night Sorrow shared his opinion. Pu Luo and the others nodded. They knew Night Sorrow's analysis was reasonable. Mo Tianji wouldn't give up on the original body. "Alliance Master, why don't we just destroy her body and be done with it? Let her not even think about it," Yu Zhu said. "I've thought about it before. However, a Mo Tianji without thoughts is not easy to catch. If we give her thoughts, she won't be able to let go. Even if she knows it's a trap, she will still jump in," Night Sorrow said. Yu Zhu and the others gave Night Sorrow a thumbs up. The original body was a huge temptation to Mo Tianji. It was a temptation that couldn't be ignored. "Alliance Master, go take a look at the First Army. But come back tonight. We'll drink until we're drunk," Pu Luo said to Night Sorrow. Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations. Night Sorrow nodded. He had to go take a look at the First Army. If it was suitable, he planned to give up the captain's position. Night Sorrow saw the soldiers of the First Army in front of the gate facing the Nirvana Ocean Bridge in Sky Desolation City. Noticing Night Sorrow's arrival, the soldiers of the First Army tapped their chest armor with their left hand. "What should I say? I don't know." Knight Sorrow smiled at his brothers of the First Army. Actually, there's nothing to say. It's enough that the captain is back. Zhuodong said. Knight Sorrow nodded. Zhuodong, you're doing well now. The First Army will be fine under your leadership. Captain, don't think like that. It's impossible. Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Zhuodong was a little anxious because it meant that Knight Sorrow would leave the First Army. I'm probably the most irresponsible captain of the First Army in history. I've been with you for only 2 years and then I've been running away for 700 years. Knight Sorrow said apologetically. Although the captain is not here, the things he left behind are still here. The combined attack formation makes the First Army more powerful. Never abandon any of our brothers is the captain's philosophy. We've fought several times over the years and returned unscathed every time. Zhuodong said. It's good that you're all here. By the way, has anyone tried to rob us over the years? I don't know what I can do for the First Army. I can only fight back if anyone tries to rob us. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Haha. Once, but Long Jin and Tianyu fought back and solved the problem directly. Zhuodong said. Okay. I'm not an obedient person. There may be a fight at any time. Knight Sorrow said. The First Army is the least afraid of fighting. By the way, what's your title? White Meng Meng looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. Chapter 1966. Yi Shan realized that many people cared about his title. They were curious about what his title was. They cared more about it than he did himself. Captain, it's the Black Lotus of Destruction. Since the Black Lotus of Destruction has appeared, the corresponding title must be extremely domineering. Many people also say that you are the human emperor of Samsara, White Meng Meng said. I almost died in there last time, and I didn't complete the certification. What's the point of a title? Let's talk about it later. Knight Sorrow said helplessly. Then they returned to the encampment of the First Army. Captain, can you watch your battle memory crystal ball now? Bai Xiaoyu asked anxiously when they arrived at the encampment. Is it meaningful to watch the battle of the Imperial level? If I remember correctly, you are still in the reserve team, right? Knight Sorrow looked at Bai Xiaoyu. We are almost the same now, but it doesn't make sense for us to be in the reserve team all the time. Thinking of this, Bai Xiaoyu was conflicted. Not only was Bai Xiaoyu conflicted, but the 30 people in the reserve team were also conflicted. They were no different from an official team now, but they were still a reserve team. They couldn't remove the title. It was useless for Bai Xiaoyu and the others to turn to Zhuodong and the Patriarch of the 100 Tribes because Knight Sorrow was the leader of the First Army. That was to say, if Knight Sorrow didn't say anything, they would either leave or stay in the reserve team. Zhuodong, can they do it? Knight Sorrow looked at Zhuodong and asked. They can do it, but it's annoying that they keep complaining about it, Zhuodong said. They can't do it without a good attitude. By the way, which territory did you fight for the territory last time? Knight Sorrow asked. The 8th Army. Zhuodong didn't understand why Knight Sorrow asked this. He had just told him that Long Jin and Tianyu had gotten back their territory. If you don't want to be a reserve team, fine. Put the flag of the First Army in the 8th Army's martial arts practice field for 4 hours and you will be an official member. Otherwise, don't talk nonsense. Come to me when you do it. Zhuodong, follow them and make sure they don't get killed, Knight Sorrow said and left the First Army. The captain is still very concerned about you guys. He's afraid that you guys will be beaten to death and turned into H*T, Bai Lingling and the others said with a smile as they looked at the 30 members of the reserve team. It's really troublesome to lead a group of reserve members. I'm your team leader. Let me know when you plan to attack and occupy the 8th Army. Tiger Cold shook his head. What time? Do you dare to go now? Bai Xiaoyu looked at the 30 over people beside him and shouted. The reserve members were very angry. They were not happy to be called reserve members for 700 years. They roared, and the 30 of them rushed towards the 8th Army. The other sergeants of the First Army followed behind because they couldn't really ignore it. Seeing the sergeants of the First Army rushing over, the sergeants of the 8th Army quickly gathered. Most. Quickly on under #didn't you fight once? Are you not done yet? The captain of the 8th Army said angrily. He regretted that he had provoked the First Army. I don't want to waste time talking to you. Brothers, we have to fight to get rid of the title of reserve members today. Are you ready? If you are, I'll put the flag. Bai Xiaoyu shouted to the reserve members. Let's fight. The 30 reserve members of the First Army shouted at the same time. Bai Xiaoyu put the flag of the First Army in the middle of the encampment of the Eighth Army. That's right, it was in the middle. Then the 30 reserve members were divided into 3 teams. The first team will guard the flag. The second and the third team will fight. As long as you're alive, the flag of the First Army will not fall, Tiger Cold ordered. It was a battle of honor. The sergeants of the Eighth Army wanted to keep their honor. If the flag of the First Army was put here, it would be a slap to the Eighth Army's face. The reserve team of the First Army was also fighting for honor. They wanted to become real sergeants of the First Army. The battle was fierce. Both sides were fighting for real. Blood was flying around the flag, but they still restrained themselves. They tried to injure each other seriously instead of killing each other. We can't stand it if it goes on like this. They outnumber us. Flower Without Words said. But it's the captain's order. We can't fight unless they retreat and the Eighth Army attacks us again, Zhuodong said. Let's inform the captain. These guys won't retreat. They'll get killed if it goes on like this, Bai Lingling said. No need. The captain must know about it. He'll come when it's time. Zhuodong shook his head. The battle was still going on. The ground was dyed red by the blood. Neither side retreated. The 30 reserve members of the First Army had changed their roles twice. They changed their roles to defend and attack. However, the greater the number difference, the greater the consumption. After an hour, more than half of the reserve team of the First Army had lost their fighting capacity. Only a few of them managed to hold on. They were badly beaten. At this time, Night Sorrow came. He looked at Zhuodong and the others and said, "This is not only a test for them, but also for you. If they can hold on for an hour, I'll consider them qualified. What about you? You won't abandon them or give up them? Brothers, let's fight. Crush them." Zhuodong shouted and rushed out. The other 10 squads of the First Army also moved. The past hour was really a torture for them. But they didn't join the battle because of Night Sorrow's order and the insistence of the reserve team. Now that Night Sorrow had given his order, they would certainly not stand by and watch. A single reserve team could hold on for an hour. Although they had paid a great price, the sergeants of the First Army could completely crush the Eighth Army now. Everyone stop! A man in silver armor appeared. Night Sorrow waved his hand and stopped the attack. I'm Chen Lu, the commander of the 8th Army, the 9th Army, and the 10th Army. It's not good to keep fighting like this. We can solve the problem. Chen Lu cupped one hand in the other before his chest and said to Night Sorrow, I asked them to put the flag of the First Army here for 4 hours. The 8th Army went to the encampment of the First Army and planned to occupy it. You have to pay the price for what you did. This is the rule. Night Sorrow glanced at Chen Lu and said, Okay, sergeants of the 8th Army, step back. Chen Lu didn't say anything else. He just waved his hand and asked the embarrassed sergeants of the 8th Army to step back. After all the sergeants of the First Army joined the battle, the 8th Army couldn't stop them. Being injured is an excuse for you to show your teeth? Stand still and look at the flag. If the flag falls down, go back to where you came from. And you, why are you standing still and watching your brothers fight? All of you, stand up straight and think carefully. Yi Shang helped the injured by Xiaoyu and the others up before turning to leave. The sergeants of the First Army and the sergeants of the 8th Army looked at each other, but they didn't attack again. The sergeants of the 8th Army were furious and knew that the First Army would leave if they stayed any longer. What a bunch of unlucky bastards. If we follow you, we will also be unlucky. Long Jean muttered because he still wanted to drink with Night Sorrow. Chapter 1967. After 4 hours, Zhuodong stood out and looked at the soldiers of the First Army. Take the flag and return to camp. Soldiers of the 8th Army, I'm sorry. If you want to fight back, the First Army is always ready. After the soldiers of the First Army left, Chen Lu started to scold them because he was very angry. This was very embarrassing. Not only did the 8th Army lose face, but he also lost face. Commander, you have 3 armies under you. You can take that Night Sorrow and we can beat them. A soldier of the 8th Army said. You still don't understand the situation. Chen Lu slapped the soldier. That Knight Sorrow is now infinitely close to peak Emperor rank. His actual fighting strength is even stronger. If you want to fight, go ahead. After Chen Lu left, the soldiers of the 8th Army also left because they knew they couldn't fight back. Even their commander wasn't a match for the captain. How could they fight? Long Jin and Tianyu followed the soldiers of the 1st Army back to camp and reminded everyone to be on guard. Then, they went to Knight Sorrow's residence to drink with him. Knight Sorrow's return immediately brought them excitement. The two of them were very happy. Those 30 people are not bad. Not to mention their strength, their courage and perseverance are not bad. After inviting Long Jin and Tianyu to sit down, Knight Sorrow said, "They just lack an identity. In other aspects, they aren't worse than the other teams." Long Jin nodded. "Alliance Master, what do you plan to do next?" Pu Luo took a sip of wine and asked, "I will first solve the issue of the title and then cultivate in the Nirvana Ocean. You guys observe the situation in the Celestial Realm. Before Mo Tianji and the Black Dragons appear, there will be traces. They can't find Star Moon City so quickly." Knight Sorrow thought for a moment and told them his plan. "Okay, our Humanitarian League forces will pay attention to this. We will surround the area around Star Moon Lake. If there is any movement, we will know immediately. It won't be easy for them to sneak in." Lin Piaomiao nodded. "Unless she doesn't come out and we catch her, we will kill her." Pu Luo said, "Let's drink. 700 years of suffering feels like 70,000 years to me." Knight Sorrow said. The pain and helplessness in the dark space had tortured him for too long. After drinking and resting, Yi Shang left the mansion and stood on the city wall of Heavenly Desolate City, looking at Heavenly Desolate. "What are you thinking?" Lu Qi appeared beside Knight Sorrow. "That's our celestial realm. Heaven Wasteland," Knight sighed. Lu Qi thought for a moment before saying, "It seems that your experience has affected you somewhat. The Black Lotus of Destruction comes from the Heaven Wasteland domain. What right does the origin of the Heaven Wasteland domain have to kill the people of the Heaven domain? This in itself is contempt. Do you think you can dominate the world?" Yi Shang's eyes flashed in the dark night. "We celestial realm beings have been fighting for several reincarnations. We never admit defeat. If outsiders want to occupy the celestial realm, then we have the courage to fight to the end. Don't have a bad impression of the celestial realm because of the black dragons and the flying serpents. Other than these two, the other races are all fighting," Lu Qi said. Knight Sorrow nodded. He was aware of these things. After chatting with Lu Qi for a while, Knight Sorrow returned to the residence to rest for the night. At dawn, Knight Sorrow changed into a clean robe and went to the Heaven Wasteland Tower. He was here to see the celestial realm's origin and to get a title. He had to go all the way. Knight Sorrow had never given up halfway. He had never done so before and would never do so in the future. Knight Sorrow arrived. When the guards didn't know whether to stop him or not, a beam of energy appeared and wrapped Knight Sorrow into the Heaven Wasteland Tower. The Lord of the Heaven Wasteland City, who was about to come out to receive Knight Sorrow, was stunned for a moment. He knew that the celestial realm's origin had brought Knight Sorrow into the Heaven Wasteland Tower. In the Heaven Wasteland Tower, Knight Sorrow saw a man. His aura was much stronger than that of the origin of the world of reincarnation, the Black-Yellow world, and the Shenwu world, but he seemed to be in his twilight years. "You should know who I am. Are you going to continue to get a title?" The origin of the celestial realm pointed at the golden futon in the space. "Yes, I can't give up halfway." Knight Sorrow nodded. "Aren't you afraid of another change?" The origin of the celestial realm sized up Knight Sorrow with eyes that could see through everything. But there are some things that I have to do." Knight Sorrow sat on the futon. "Let's talk first. There are some problems in the celestial realm that need to be solved, and the opportunity to solve them lies with you." The origin of the celestial realm flicked his robe and sat down. First tick then, the origin of the celestial realm didn't care about Knight Sorrow's answer and told Knight Sorrow some things. The celestial realm had existed for too long and had gone through many reincarnations. Every reincarnation would have a tribulation, and it was the same for countless reincarnations. In the previous reincarnations of the celestial realm, there were human sovereigns, but because the celestial realm was in its twilight years, it didn't have enough luck to produce human sovereigns. They were all sunset sons. Night Sorrow wasn't born in the celestial realm, but in the new Nine Domains world, so he was different from the previous human sovereigns. He was the rising sun. Because the celestial realm was large and had a strong spatial barrier, it was no longer in danger of being destroyed, but the origin of the world had a tribulation. The last reincarnation was actually the tribulation of the celestial realm's origin. Because some opportunities to deal with the tribulation didn't appear, he persisted until this reincarnation. What can I do? Night Sorrow didn't answer. Don't worry, listen to me. Supreme worlds like the deserted world and the celestial realm have a lifespan of 1,000 reincarnations. The deserted world is the heaven wasteland world that you speak of. The birth of a supreme world is accompanied by the fall of a supreme world. Although the supreme world won't be destroyed, the origin will fall. After the fall of the deserted world's origin, I will be promoted to the supreme origin level. After I fall, the next supreme world will be born, and the next supreme world will be the Nine Domains world. Do you understand? The origin of the celestial realm looked at Night Sorrow and threw out shocking news. That's not right. The deserted world's origin has fallen. How can it still be so strong? How can there be demon wings race? Night Sorrow asked. He knew that a world without an origin was not suitable for cultivation. After the fall of the deserted world's origin, evil chi of heaven and earth origin entered the deserted world. That's why the deserted world became what it is now. For example, after I disappear, the celestial realm won't be destroyed. It's possible that evil chi of heaven and earth origin will enter, the origin of the celestial realm said. Chapter 1968. I appreciate your honesty. The rise of the Nine Zones world is unstoppable. You don't have to worry about that. If I wanted to do something, would the Nine Regions' origins have returned with you and scathed the last time you were injured? What I'm worried about is that there's already an evil deserted world. If an evil celestial realm appears in the future, the Nine Zones world will be in for a lot of trouble. The celestial realm origin looked at Night Sorrow and shook its head. What do you need me to do? Night Sorrow asked. If you're still alive when this reincarnation cycle ends, bring the Nine Zones world origin to the celestial realm and guard it for a while. My original body will reincarnate. If my original body returns, the celestial realm will still be the celestial realm. But don't worry, my original body after reincarnating will be very weak. I won't be able to stop the rise of the Nine Zones world. In return, I'll protect your chaotic realm and the other three worlds from being destroyed during this reincarnation cycle, the celestial realm origin said. I, Night Sorrow, promise you that. Night Sorrow agreed quickly because the Nine Zones origin had communicated with him. That's enough. I checked your body last time, but I'm not done yet. I'll have to do it again. After the celestial realm origin finished speaking, the futon emitted a golden light again. The golden light seeped into Night Sorrow's body. Night Sorrow didn't stop it. The energy in his body operated on its own. After a while, the golden light that had checked Night Sorrow's body disappeared. Everything returned to normal. I'm ready. I can proceed to the next step. Night Sorrow said. There's no next step because it's meaningless. I've checked your situation. Your immortality potential is confirmed. Your reincarnation attribute is confirmed. Your origin is confirmed. Your human sovereign is confirmed. Next, there are several titles for you to choose from. Immortal Human Sovereign, Reincarnation Human Sovereign, and Origin Human Sovereign. In fact, you can choose any title you want, but you have the origin of other worlds in your body. It's better to be close to your previous title, the Celestial Realm origin said. My previous title was Immortal. As for Human Sovereign, forget it. I'll just do my own thing. It doesn't matter if I'm a human sovereign or not. I can't be too ostentatious, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Okay, then you'll be immortal. If you can survive the godly tribulation, you'll be a real divine sovereign. As the celestial realm origin, the words, Divine Immortal Human Sovereign. All the members of the heavenly wasteland city were watching. More A, new caret Y fastest equals faster U, up D. Puluo, what does this title mean? Ruiz put his hand on Puluo's shoulder and asked. Only after surviving the godly tribulation can one be immortal and called a god. The title of Divine Sovereign means that the leader has the potential to survive the godly tribulation and has the chance to reach the level that no one has ever reached, Pu Luo said. Universe Master, the title of Divine Sovereign is too ostentatious. Let's not use it. When I go out, people will look at me strangely. Night Sorrow naturally noticed the 4 words in the sky. This is my decision, and it's also in line with the way of heaven. If you don't want to be ostentatious, then enter the body first and then enter the body later. It's up to you how to explain it when you go out. The celestial realm origin closed its eyes. At this time, 2 of the 4 words in the sky jumped into the heaven wasteland tower. It was Divine Sovereign. After a while, the 2 words, Immortal Human Sovereign, jumped again and entered the heaven wasteland tower. Why not Human Sovereign? Grand Elder, who had also arrived outside the heaven wasteland tower, looked at the city master and asked. Human Sovereign doesn't need a title to prove it. Night Sorrow is a person who doesn't like to be ostentatious. He has many choices of titles, so he chose the one that suits him best. I guess he didn't want to accept the title of Divine Sovereign, so he took it back first, the city master said. Night Sorrow felt the mark of the origin of the world in his body. He cupped his hands at the origin of the celestial realm, then pushed open the door of the authentication space and walked out. Congratulations on obtaining an unprecedented title. Grand Elder's face was full of smiles. He was very happy because Night Sorrow was the future of the human tribe. It was no secret that Night Sorrow was the deluxe merit emperor. So as long as Night Sorrow grew, the rise of the human tribe and the 100 Tribes Alliance would not be a problem. They would not be at a disadvantage against the Heaven Wasteland Demon-Winged clan. I was just lucky to be recognized by the origin of the celestial realm as having some potential, Night Sorrow said with a smile. After chatting with everyone for a while, Night Sorrow left. It was just an authentication, so he didn't really care. Whether it was good or not was not decided by others. He had to do it himself. Pu Luo, Great Demon King, Lin Piao, and the others were very happy because Immortal was a title that had never been given before. In the celestial realm, there were all kinds of emperors, martial emperors, battle emperors, fist emperors, and blade emperors. However, no one had ever been given a title that included God. Back in the mansion, Night Sorrow and the others made tea and chatted about Night Sorrow's authentication. Of course, there were some things that Night Sorrow did not mention, because it would cause unnecessary disturbances. I don't understand. You're the deluxe merit emperor, which is the same as the previous human sovereign. Why aren't you the human sovereign? Yu Zhu looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I didn't ask for it. So what if I'm the human sovereign? It's enough to do my own thing. It's not good to spread rumors. Keep a low profile and do things in a high-profile way, Night Sorrow explained. So you didn't ask for it. However, the human sovereign is undeniable. I understand. Yu Zhu nodded. Then why did the title of Divine Sovereign go back first? Reese also had a lot of questions. I also felt that it was too ostentatious, so I wanted to cancel it. However, the origin of the celestial realm cooperated with me to take back the title. Night Sorrow smiled. It was not important, so there was nothing that he couldn't say. The City Lord, King Yawu, the Great Elder, and Lu Qi also had a lot of questions to ask when they arrived at the City Lord's cultivation space. When they entered the space, before they could even talk, the Heaven Realm's origin body appeared. Greetings, Universe Master. The mayor and the others bowed to the origin of the celestial realm. I'm here today to tell you something. Night Sorrow's title should have had the title of Human Sovereign, but he didn't want it because he didn't want to be ostentatious. In addition, his body contains 2 forbidden attributes. You know what that means. You were born in the celestial realm. Because the fate of the celestial realm is not clear, your luck is not good. However, Night Sorrow is different. He comes from a new world. He's the rising sun and the hope of the future. As for the future of the celestial realm, it's not important to Night Sorrow. If the celestial realm can't handle it, he'll return to his world and be the supreme realm master. You're the ones who will be stunned, the origin of the celestial realm said. If the celestial realm is gone, then how can the realm of chaos be stable? Lu Qi asked, confused. Don't interrupt. The 9 Realms world is the prototype of the supreme realm. The origin of the celestial realm glared at Lu Qi. Chapter 1969. Lu Qi didn't say anything. He couldn't offend the dignity of the celestial realm's origin. In other words, even if all the worlds are destroyed and fallen, the 9 realms are still stable. So, he's not fighting for himself, but for the human race and the 100 races. As for the title of human emperor, you know that he doesn't care about it. He doesn't care about the title of divine emperor either. He's the best at being selfless, the celestial realm's origin said. That means that the celestial realm owes him, King Yawu said. You all know what to do. We've reached a consensus, but a consensus is still a consensus. It's easy to change. Some of the pests of the celestial realm can't be protected. He can kill them if he wants, but we can't make him unhappy, the celestial realm's origin said and left. The city lord and the others looked at each other. Some things were beyond their understanding. What did the celestial realm's origin mean? It meant that Night Sorrow couldn't be offended. If something happened in the celestial realm, Night Sorrow could just leave. The unlucky ones were the local cultivators of the celestial realm who couldn't leave. In the end, it made it clear that Night Sorrow could kill whoever he wanted, and there was no need to protect or make Night Sorrow unhappy. This guy doesn't even want the title of human emperor. What does he want? Lu Qi said with some hesitation. He's the deluxe merit emperor. He's always been a righteous man. So, the fame that others can only dream of is a shackle to him, the city lord said. I've seen many cultivators in the past. The human race, the 100 races, and even the demon-winged clan, I don't think anyone is more difficult to deal with than him. The Grand Elder shook his head. Not really. Night Sorrow has a good heart. Treating him with sincerity is the best way. Maybe he knows some things better than we do. He's the Realm Lord, and the Realm Lord of the embryonic form of the sovereign world. So don't scheme. Just do what needs to be done, King Yawu said. Yawu, you're right. We need to be more sincere. However, apart from the banishment last time, we didn't do anything to upset him. The mayor smiled. Night Sorrow's mansion. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow stood up. Next, his body trembled and a doppelganger appeared. When the celestial realm's origin investigated Night Sorrow's body, some of the energy was absorbed by Night Sorrow's doppelganger. The doppelganger recovered for a while and was fine. This is good. While the main body cultivates, the clone can also handle some matters. Night Sorrow was very happy. With the Avatar awakening, it could be said that the negative damage caused by the Black Lotus of Destruction had completely disappeared, leaving only benefits. Night Sorrow's doppelganger had awakened. The other members of the Humanitarian League were also very happy. What did a doppelganger mean? It meant one more life. During a battle, the existence of a clone could avoid many risks, even the risk of death. Of course, the Emperor's Tribulation and Emperor's Tribulation could only be withstood by the true body. Very good. Now the Black Lotus of Destruction's influence on you is completely gone, Puluo said with a smile. Night Sorrow, after waking up, your wives are still as beautiful as flowers. They're all the undying king and your son has become an emperor. How does it feel? Yuzhu asked with a smile. It's indescribable. You guys don't understand a life without memories. I know it's home, I know it's my wife, but I still feel that something is wrong, Night Sorrow said. Without experiencing it, you have no right to speak. Fortunately, you've recovered everything, the Great Demon King said. Then, Night Sorrow told everyone his decision. His main body would cultivate in Tianhuang City while his doppelganger would go to the Ethereal Dynasty. In the future, the focus of our Humanitarian League will be on the Ethereal Dynasty. It will become another center of chaos outside of Tianhuang City, the Great Demon King said. The Great Demon King is right. The entrance to the Nine Zones world is in the Ethereal Dynasty. The Nine Zones world is a key point in the battle between Tianhuang and the Celestial Realm. In addition, Mo Tianji's main body is in the Nine Zones world. Attacking the Nine Zones world should be one of the Demon Wing's main plans, Night Sorrow analyzed after the Great Demon King's words. Then it's settled. Your Night Moon Villa will be our stronghold. Also, Night Moon Villa can't be the same teleportation formation from Night Moon Villa to Night Moon City. This way, even if the teleportation formation is destroyed by a sneak attack, we can fight at any time and won't be caught off guard, Puluo said. Okay, I'll take care of it. Later, I'll invite you to my house to be my guests. I'll show you a different culture, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Finally, I've been waiting for your invitation. It's not easy, Yuzhu said happily. Many people knew about the Nine Zones world, not to mention the few people from the Humanitarian League. However, it was difficult to go to the Nine Zones world. Unless Night Sorrow invited or agreed to it, no one could go. Currently, the only people from the Celestial Realm who could go were those from the Ethereal Dynasty. How should I put it? It's not that I don't trust anyone, but I can't gamble with the lives of the Nine Zones world. If an expert with evil intentions goes there, I won't be able to defeat him. The Nine Zones world will fall. It's too big of a deal, Night Sorrow said. So you're saying that if we go to the Nine Zones world to cause trouble, you'll be able to deal with us? Fun Tion asked. Let's not talk about the Celestial Realm. In the Nine Zones world, I'm the Realm Master. I can use the origin of the Nine Zones world and control the energy of the Nine Zones world. You know what I mean, Night Sorrow said with a smile. In the past, you didn't allow anyone to go. In the future, if you want someone to go, they have to be brave enough to go. If you don't like them, you'll kill them. You're the boss of your territory. Yuzhu said. So, are you going? Night Sorrow asked with a smile. Of course, why wouldn't I go? You're the virtuous monarch. We'll be afraid of anyone but you. Yuzhu glanced at Night Sorrow. The virtuous monarch was blessed by the heavenly law. It was also a guarantee to others because the virtuous monarch wouldn't do anything that went against his morals. Then, let's go and see the legendary Nine Zones world. The great Demon King stood up. He was also interested. He had a realm under his command. He was the Realm Master, but he wasn't the Realm Master. After the few of them stood up, they went to the teleportation array and started the teleportation. However, it was Night Sorrow's doppelganger that led them. His original body stayed behind to cultivate. After arriving at the Ethereal Empire's Night Moon Villa, Night Sorrow set up another teleportation array. The teleportation array was connected to the teleportation array in the Ethereal Empire's Imperial City and then to Star Moon City. The new teleportation array was hidden. It was a backup strategic teleportation array. Alliance Master, I thought of something else. According to what you said, you're almost invincible in the Nine Zones world. Then, you can relax the defense of Star Moon City and let them enter the Nine Zones world. Then you can lock them in and beat them up. How safe would that be? Yuzhu said. I've thought about what you said, but I have a different idea. Night Sorrow shook his head. Chapter 1970. Night Sorrow then expressed his thoughts. Night Sorrow wanted to conquer the Celestial Realm and lead the Nine-Domain world to develop. Therefore, the living beings of the Nine-Domain world had no obligation to take risks with him, let alone bear the flames of war. Night Sorrow didn't want the Nine-Domain world to bear any war. Understood. We can understand your thoughts. The Nine-Domain world is your root. Naturally, you can't let others invade it so easily. We will fight with the Demon-Winged Clan in Star Moon City. Of course, the prerequisite is that they dare to come, Pu Luo said. After listening to Night Sorrow's explanation, not only Pu Luo, but everyone else could understand. Night Sorrow then led the group to the Twilight Tea House for tea. This was a must for everyone in the Ethereal Dynasty. The Twilight Tea House was very famous. Many cultivators far away from the Ethereal Dynasty would come to the Twilight Tea House at least once. It could be said that the Twilight Tea House was a signature of the Celestial Realm. It was the pinnacle of the tea ceremony. I love tea. I haven't paid the bill yet. Come, bring me good tea and snacks. The Great Demon King shouted after entering the Twilight Tea House. It was inappropriate, but this was the Great Demon King's character. How tasteless. Shame on you. A cold snort came from a private room. The Great Demon King was stunned. He didn't say anything and followed Night Sorrow and the others into the admiring Moon Pavilion. How could he say anything? That voice belonged to the Grand Elder. The Great Demon King didn't have to give any face to the other elders, including the law enforcement elders. However, he had to give face to the Grand Elder. Don't say that you love tea and don't pay the bill. If you walk too much at night, you will meet ghosts, Ruiz said after sitting down. You said it well. The Grand Elder's voice came again. Ruiz was dumbfounded. After hearing the Grand Elder's words, He realized how inappropriate his words were. Meet ghosts? Who was the ghost? Alliance Master. Bring some refreshments. I'll go apologize. Reese wanted to slap his own mouth. He couldn't control his mouth, and at such a critical moment, he blurted out everything. Knight Sorrow nodded. Then, he asked for tea and refreshments to be served. He then led the group to the private room where the Grand Elder was. Knight Sorrow put down the refreshments and nodded at the Grand Elder and King Yawu. This time, it was the Grand Elder and King Yawu. The tea here is indeed very good. There is no other tea shop in the Celestial Realm. The signboard at the door is well deserved. King Yawu looked at the bright moon in the sky and nodded. What he meant was that the Celestial Realm was full of bright moons. Only the twilight moon was different. If Uncle Master likes it, you can come here any time. It's also convenient to have a teleportation array, Knight Sorrow said. Is it convenient? I don't think so. The two of us had to wait in line for half a day, and in the end, we had to use spirit stones to exchange numbers with the people in front of us to get a seat. It's not like you bandits entering the village. The Great Elder glanced at the Great Demon Lord and Ruisi. Grand Elder, don't be angry. I have a VIP card. I'll give it to the Grand Elder. Ruiz quickly took out his VIP card and handed it to the Grand Elder. He had the potential to be a bootlicker. At least you understand. I won't argue with you. After the Grand Elder took the VIP card, he glanced at Knight Sorrow again. Uncle Master, this is yours. Knight Sorrow pushed a VIP card to King Yawu. Uncle Master, take it. I have a good nephew. I don't need to learn from others to blackmail him. King Yawu glanced at the Grand Elder and took the VIP card. Yawu, you're wrong. He respects me. Is there a problem with giving him a VIP card? Okay, you guys go and drink your tea. The Grand Elder began to drive them away. Knight Sorrow and the others quickly left. At this time, the Grand Elder did not want to see them. What's wrong today? You talk too fast. Ruiz was still a little depressed. And %CIJ version 6 of GJ version. Haha. In a while, I'll ask Sworn Brother for a few more VIP cards. Yishan smiled. After they drank tea, Knight Sorrow took a few more VIP cards from Chen Chen before leaving the Twilight Tea House. Knight Sorrow took them to the teleportation array to Xingyue City. They checked the defense, communicated with Lu Qi, and then went to the 9 Domains world. Phew! The air is so fresh. After exiting the teleportation array, Pu Luo exhaled and said, This is my hometown. How does it feel? Does it not feel oppressive? Knight Sorrow looked at them and said with a smile, It feels like a new life. It's very clear. The Celestial Realm can't compare. Yu Zhu looked very excited. Then you guys go around and come back here tomorrow at this time. Also, don't cause trouble. Knight Sorrow added seriously. Don't worry. If someone spits on my face, I won't even wipe it. It will dry naturally. After saying that, Ruiz ran away. He's a little silly. There's a teleportation array here. Yu Zhu smiled and went on the teleportation array. Knight Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao took the teleportation array to the city in the sky. Knight Sorrow stayed in Tianhuang City and thought for a while. He went to the base of the First Army to see Long Jin and Tianyu. He planned to take care of some things before he went into seclusion. Captain, you didn't leave with the Humanitarian League? Long Jin asked. No. I plan to go to the Nirvana Ocean to cultivate later. If I can improve, my strength will increase. But before that, there are some things I need to take care of. Knight Sorrow said. 13th brother, just say the word and we'll take care of it. There's no need to delay your cultivation. Tianyu said. Your matter? I've been sleeping here for 700 years. Have you made any progress? Knight Sorrow asked. It's good. I went back to the 9 Domain world and saw her a few times, but I didn't say much. I was a little embarrassed. Tianyu said embarrassedly. I can only go into seclusion after this matter is taken care of. Knight Sorrow said. 13th brother, help me ask around. If it's okay, I'll go and ask for her hand in marriage. Tianyu hesitated and said. I have to hand it to you. All right. I'll help you ask around. Knight Sorrow nodded. He had to pay attention to Tianyu's matter. Night Sorrow's clone returned to Sky City and went to see his parents. After asking around, he went to Night Moon City. He wanted to see Yin Yanxiao, the current ruler of the Night Moon dynasty. The person Tianyu was thinking about was Yin Yanxiao. This was something that Night Sorrow had analyzed a long time ago. Tianyu liked her and they were familiar with each other. Only Yin Yanxiao and Yi Mei fit the bill. If it was Yi Mei, Tianyu wouldn't be so conflicted. He would have done what he needed to do. Therefore, the only one left was Yin Yanxiao. She was also the person who wouldn't be suitable for the child to call him godfather in the future. In the palace on Night Moon, Night Sorrow saw Yin Yanxiao, who was holding her chin and thinking about something. Yanxiao, what are you thinking about? What if an enemy comes? Night Sorrow greeted her. Brother. Why would an enemy come to the palace on Night Moon? Yin Yanxiao was pleasantly surprised to see Night Sorrow. She quickly walked over and grabbed Night Sorrow's arm. Chapter 1971. Yanxiao, look at you. The Empress of Night Moon is still acting like a child. Night Sorrow pinched his sister's nose. In front of Big Brother, I'll always be a child. If anyone bullies me, I'll look for Big Brother. Yin Yanxiao pulled Night Sorrow over to the throne of the Night Moon dynasty and massaged his shoulders. In the past, the Yi clan had always been known as the Night Moon dynasty. But a long time ago, both the Nine Regions world and the Primal Chaos realm called it the Night Moon dynasty. If Night Moon didn't have the qualifications to be called a dynasty, then no power in the Primal Chaos realm had the qualifications to be called a dynasty. If you can leave the matters here to others, then leave them to others. If you have nothing to do, go home more often. Who would dare to cause trouble? Night Sorrow smiled. I know. No matter who you give the Night Moon dynasty to, no one would dare to take it. I just don't want to go home and have to report to everyone. I can't bring the matters outside home, said Yin Yanxiao. Night Sorrow turned to his sister and asked, You're right. I came here today because of some matters. I've been sleeping for 700 years, and the family has always been very oppressive. Shouldn't there be some good news to change things? Big Brother, don't tell me you've taken a fancy to some girl after waking up? That won't do. That would be letting down my sisters-in-law, said Yin Yanxiao somewhat anxiously. Little girl, what are you thinking about? I'm talking about you. What's going on between you and Tianyu? If you don't give him an answer, he won't be able to ask for your hand in marriage, said Night Sorrow directly. Big Brother, you know? But that stupid bird didn't ask. What should I say? It's not like the girls of our Yi clan can't get married. Yin Yanxiao's face reddened. Stupid bird. You're right. He asked Big Brother to ask. Now that Big Brother understands, there's no need to ask. But Big Brother can't bear to see you marry off to the Azure Pung race. If you suffer, Big Brother won't know, said Night Sorrow. Big Brother, Tianyu won't do that. We should know him. He's very responsible. Yin Yan smiled and spoke up for Tianyu. It's not that I don't trust Tianyu. He's my brother. We grew up together. How can I not trust him? I don't believe the Green Rock race. Tianyu has been bullied before, so I'll talk to the Green Rock race about this. You can't be careless about your happiness. Night Sorrow stood up and said, Brother, it's Nian Zhao's greatest happiness to have a brother like you in this life. Yin Yan smiled until her eyes turned red. She knew that for her happiness, Night Sorrow was willing to do anything. Take care of your business and head home early. Night Sorrow patted Yin Yanxiao on the shoulder, then left Night Moon's lounge. Looking at Night Sorrow's back, Yin Yanxiao wanted to cry. Because her brother hadn't been around for 700 years, she had felt very helpless. She felt like she had lost her backing, and now she was once again that Yin Yanxiao who had the strongest brother. What's wrong? Do you feel a little emotional? Yi Shenyu appeared in the lounge. Great Aunt is here. Yin Yanxiao wiped the corner of her eyes. Yes, you're Night Moon's emperor. How can you cry like a little girl? But your brother is right. You can't get married and suffer. We'll feel bad for you. Yi Shenyu stroked Yin Yanxiao's hair. She had been listening the whole time, but she didn't disturb them. Permanently exempt from paying for sex? Look at this. Se. Nian Xiao also doesn't want to get married. Yi Nianxiao wiped her face and smiled. You're Night Moon's emperor. Naturally, you can't be like an ordinary girl. Besides, your brother is Night Sorrow. Haha. Yi Shenyu smiled. Night Sorrow's clone returned to the city in the sky to accompany his family, while his main body discussed this matter with Tianyu. Tianyu, I've asked. It's not impossible. We're brothers, but there are some things that have to be made clear. Don't you think so, Longjin? Night Sorrow sat down beside Longjin. He wanted to find an ally to deal with Tianyu. Captain, don't worry. I support you. If you want to get a wife, you have to have an attitude. Longjin directly expressed his support for Night Sorrow. All right. Longjin, you're not being honest. Brother 13, just say it and I'll do it. Tianyu nodded. Tianyu, you're my brother. Nian Xiao is my only sister. I care about your happiness, but I don't believe in the Azure Rock Race. So, don't think that you can marry Nian Xiao into the Azure Rock Race. It's impossible. Night Sorrow explained his point of view. I'm not saying that the Azure Rock Race's young master has to marry into the Yi clan. That means that there's no such thing as marrying into the Yi clan. It's just a normal marriage. Don't pin the broken rules of the Azure Rock Race on our Nian Xiao. Brother 13, I understand. Actually, I also have these thoughts. As long as Nian Xiao is willing, I'm willing to do anything. If grandfather and the old ancestor don't agree, I'll be like father and run away without caring about anything. Brother 13, don't you think that my parents are powerful? After so many years, they don't care about their parents or their son. They just want to live their own lives. Tianyu shook his head. Tianyu, uncle and auntie won't be in any danger, right? Night Sorrow asked worriedly. I used to worry about that too, but I'm an idiot to worry about that. I'm worried that they'll be betrayed. Divination can tell that they're living like immortals. It's just that grandfather and the old ancestor can't determine their location and can't catch them. They've always been very careful. They know that my grandfather and grandfather won't let them off. Once they know where they are, they'll definitely catch them. Tianyu was a little annoyed because his parents were too irresponsible. Are you angry? There's no need at all. Why? Because they believe that with the Azure Rock Race and the Xuanwan race around, you'll definitely be able to live well. Longjin smiled. Yes, I think so too, so I forgive them. However, their way of thinking is pretty good. If the family forces me, I can totally imitate them. Tianyu looked at Night Sorrow and expressed his attitude. Then you can tell the family. But no matter what, I'll support you and Nian Xiao. Back then, I took care of the Celestial Cliffs for you. I don't mind fighting the Azure Rock Race again. Night Sorrow patted Tianyu's shoulder. Once this matter is settled, the Azure Rock Race will have to consider going against the Deluxe Merit Emperor and the Human Emperor, right? Besides, they didn't let Tianyu marry into their family. Also, I have something that I need your help with in the future. Longjin said. You're boring. We're brothers. Do you need to ask for help? Night Sorrow knocked Longjin's shoulder. Tianyu is about to get married. I can't fall behind him. However, dragon language doesn't have any relatives. I'm worried that she'll feel uncomfortable. So, Captain, can you give her an identity in the Chaos Realm or the Nine Regions world? You two can become siblings or something. It'll be so honorable to be the Human Emperor's elder sister. Longjin spoke his thoughts. Shameless. Tianyu muttered. None of your business. Longjin glared at Tianyu. Elder sister? Longjin, you're really good. However, who's elder and who's younger is decided by the heavens. You can't just make the decision. Night Sorrow was a little speechless. It seemed that Longjin had already prepared a trap and was waiting for him to fall into it. Chapter 1972. In order to resolve the issue of dragon language, Night Sorrow's group of 3 didn't waste any time. They directly took a teleportation array to Ethereal Imperial City. Night Sorrow left the teleportation array and went to a gambling house. He threw down several holy spirit stones and took out a cup of sex. Brother 13, you're not going to use this to decide the size of dragon language, are you? Tianyu was dumbfounded. Today, I'll rely on this. I, Yishang, We'll believe in fate this time. Yi Shang nodded at Tianyu. When they arrived at the Night Moon Villa, Long Jin called out, and the god-slaying squad gathered. Night Sorrow's wives were also present. I'll tell you two things. The first is about Tianyu. He plans to propose to my little sister. Dragon language. I support this, but there are some details that need to be discussed. The second thing is that Long Jin is anxious to see Tianyu get married, so he plans to propose to Dragon language. However, everyone knows about Dragon language's situation. Ever since she left the Primal Chaos region with us, she has no relatives. I don't want my brothers and sisters to have no relatives. Today, I, Night Sorrow, will be your relative. What do you think about Dragon language? Night Sorrow looked at the assembled members of the god-slaying squad. Many thanks, Captain. Dragon language is willing. Dragon language nodded. Long Jin wants us to be brother and sister, but I'm not willing. Today, I'll use this to decide the size. Night Sorrow made a grabbing motion with his left hand, and a table by the side of the training field flew over. Next, Night Sorrow slammed the cup of sex on the table. You can do that? Liang Yu looked at Night Sorrow with some astonishment. Why not? Dragon language, what do you think? Night Sorrow smiled at Dragon language. Of course. Dragon language turned her head and wiped the corners of her eyes. She knew that Night Sorrow had done a lot for her. Now, he was willing to do something for her. Whoever cheats is a dog. Yun Huang shouted. H6. Do you think everyone is like you, Yun Huang? Just shake and slap to determine the size. Yi Shang glared at Yun Huang. I'll go first. Dragon language walked up to the table, shook his cup, and slammed it on the table. Following which, the very active Yun Huang stepped forward and opened it. 3, 2, 6. How silly. Liang Yu and the others laughed. What do you know? This is called good things come in pairs. Dragon language looked at Liang Yu and the others with dissatisfaction. It's my turn now. Dragon language. Are you the older sister or the younger sister? Let's see who's better. Night Sorrow shook his cup and slammed it on the table. Before Yi Shang could open it, Yun Huang had already opened it. 3 4s. Good things come in pairs. Not bad. Are you convinced by the dragon language? Night Sorrow slammed the table. We all lost. What's there to be convinced about? Dragon language greets elder brother. Dragon language bowed to Night Sorrow. Don't. Let's wait for a while. I suddenly realized that I'll become smaller in the future. Captain, can I fight for myself? Long Jin stood up. Because dragon language was a girl, he would have to call Night Sorrow elder brother in the future. I'm happy today. I'll give you a chance. Come on. Night Sorrow smiled. You're the captain. You go first. Long Jin made an inviting gesture to Night Sorrow. Watch me kill all. Night Sorrow shook his cup and slammed it on the table. Yun Huang opened it. This time, everyone laughed. One of the dice stood up without a dot, while the other two were dots. Good things come in pairs, but this is a little too small. Night Sorrow was speechless. This was the prelude to a tragedy. Looking at Night Sorrow's 2 dots, everyone laughed. Getting 2 dots out of 3 was something that others couldn't do even if they wanted to. Ah! Watch me kill all. Long Jin laughed loudly and slammed the dice cup on the table. When Yun Huang opened the dice cup, Long Jin was dumbfounded because the result was even more tragic. He was too excited and forgot about his strength as the golden dragon. The force of the shaking was too great. 2 of the dice broke, leaving only 1 dot. Alright. You'll still be the captain in the future. Long Jin was speechless as he slapped his hands together. A great opportunity was lost just like that. Dragon language, you haven't known me for a long time. But during the 700 years that I was unconscious, you and the brothers of the god-slaying team were together for 700 years. You're our family. Come, light the incense. Night Sorrow nodded to dragon language. The incense was lit. Night Sorrow and dragon language swore to the heavens and became sworn brothers. Then, the group of people began to drink. Aluo, you and Sister Xian, help take care of these matters. If the others have plans to start a family, we'll also help arrange it. Night Sorrow instructed Datura as they drank. After drinking, Knight Sorrow left. He wanted to return to Tianhuang City to cultivate. With the matters at hand settled, he felt more at ease. Captain, you've thought of everything you should and shouldn't have. With such a captain, I have no regrets in this life. Qian Yu whispered. He just wants to see his brothers and sisters doing well. This is also his pursuit. Sikong Chuyu nodded. Tian Yu also left. He had to go back and tell his family about this matter. He was the only son of Azure Rock Patriarch Tian Yunsong, and the only young patriarch. Tian Yunsong and forefather Azure Rock were talking about Knight Sorrow's title. In addition, the leaders of the 100 races of the Celestial Realm, including the patriarchs of the Divine Beast race, had received a joint letter from the Tianhuang City Lord, King Yewu, and Grand Elder confirming Knight Sorrow's identity as the human emperor. Yunsong. The two words Divine Emperor are very frightening. Not to mention, it's also immortal. This means that he's qualified to reach the peak. With the forbidden attribute, this guy is absolutely ruthless. Ordinary Emperor Tribulation cultivators have no chance in front of him, forefather Azure Rock said. He dealt with our Azure Rock clan's celestial cliffs. Father, please don't take it to heart. Knight Sorrow is still young. There's a lot of room for improvement in the future. His achievements are immeasurable. Tian Yunsong didn't want forefather Azure Rock to hold a grudge against Knight Sorrow because of Celestial Cliffs. Celestial Cliffs is a bully at home, but a coward outside. So what if he's dealt with? He did it for our young patriarch. We should be happy that Tian Yu has a brother like this. At the very least, who would dare bully him outside? Forefather Azure Rock didn't mind. Father, there's one more thing. The Black Phoenix Patriarch is saying that Tian Yu has their blood in him. We can't fight, and there's no end to it, Tian Yunsong said, a little annoyed. Then what do we do? It's a fact that my grandson kidnapped someone else's daughter. Before Tian Yu, they wouldn't have done this. Now that their descendant isn't outstanding, of course they'll target Tian Yu. Later, I'll go talk to the Black Phoenix Patriarch. If that doesn't work, then I won't care anymore. If they can go ask Knight Sorrow for him, why are they trying to be unreasonable with us? Forefather Azure Rock said. Then we'll listen to father's arrangements. Tian Yunsong knew what to do. Chapter 1973. Tian Yu scanned the area with his soul force, but didn't find Song Yunshan. He returned to his residence, then kicked the table over. Song Yunshan and Patriarch Azure Rock were in the clan's ancestral hall, isolated from prying eyes and divining. Bring him here. Something must have happened. If it's a small matter, they can deal with it on their own. It must be something big, Patriarch Azure Rock said to Song Yunshan. Song Yunshan left the ancestral hall and arrived at Tian Yu's residence. Grandfather, where did you go? Tian Yu glanced at Song Yunshan. When there's nothing going on, you're always here, but when there's something going on, you're nowhere to be seen. Child, what are you talking about? I had something to discuss with the Patriarch. When I saw you come back, I immediately came over. Go pay your respects to the Patriarch. Song Yunshan pulled Tian Yu to the ancestral hall. Did something happen? Kicking a table is wrong. If anyone provokes you, you should kick them. Patriarch Azure Rock looked at Tian Yu, a smile on his face. Tian Yu was the most outstanding descendant of the Azure Rock clan. In the past, he hadn't been as good as the others because he lacked the time to cultivate. Grandfather Patriarch, it's like this. I like a woman, but she won't marry me. Tian Yu said. What kind of woman won't marry? Are you telling the junior patriarch of the Azure Rock clan to marry into her family? As soon as he heard Tian Yu's words, Song Yunshan grew frantic. If his son ran away and his grandson married into his family, there was no hope. She didn't tell me to marry into her family, Tian Yu said. What my 13th brother means is that in the future, we'll live our own lives. Don't force the Azure Rock clan's rules on others. Your 13th brother? You have to listen to your 13th brother when it comes to getting a wife? Song Yunshan's temper flared. In Tian Yu's mind, his 13th brother's words were more important than his grandfather's. That's not it. Grandfather, don't be angry. I like my 13th brother's only sister, Yin Yanxiao. That's why my 13th brother has the final say in this matter, Tianyu explained. He knew that angering Song Yunshan wouldn't end him. Yunshan, calm down. Azure Rock waved his hand, gesturing for him and Tianyu to take a seat. Once Tianyu's. Song Yunshan and Song Yunshan's father's words. And nights. Ask. And night, S, P, S, E, 2. And T, est, T. That's reasonable. It's not excessive at all. Let's do as they say. It's your fortune to be able to obtain a woman from the Yi family, Patriarch Greenrock said with a smile after hearing Tianyu's words. E.S. He's Deluxe Gongda's only sister. What's so bad about that? Do you think Deluxe Gongda's family's upbringing is fake? He's worried about the child's surname. Can't you see Night Sorrow-s? Song Yunshan. He doesn't want Tianyu or Nianxiao to be wronged. Song Yunshan glared at his son. Song Yunshan didn't say a word, but he was deep in thought. Tianyu, this is a good thing. The ancestor supports you. You're lucky to have a brother like him. Even in the Azure Rock clan, I don't think there's anyone who cares more about your life than he does. As your ancestor, I want you to live well. Song Yunshan. Song Yunshan nodded. Thank you, ancestor. Tianyu rose to his feet and bowed slightly to Song Yunshan and Song Yunshan. You're a good boy. Yunlan, come here. Song Yunshan called into the air. A moment later, a middle-aged woman entered the hall. She bowed slightly to Song Yunshan and Song Yunshan, then smiled at Tianyu. Many of the elders of the Azure Rock clan liked Tianyu. Tianyu greets the great aunt. Tianyu rose to his feet and bowed. Forefather Green Rock told the elder of the Green Rock clan, who was also his daughter, Tian Yunlan, the whole story. He told her to represent the Green Rock clan in proposing marriage to the Yi clan. He emphasized that the Yi clan would fulfill any of their requests. As for Tian Yunsong, he also went, but he was only there to accompany the guests. Father, so you're going as a guest? Song Yunshan was a little depressed. Yes. You're not calm enough, but you must go. The Patriarch's presence will make things official. Don't you know what the immortal God Emperor means? Did I talk to you for nothing? Song Yunshan glared at Song Yunshan. Night Sorrow's original body settled Long Jin and Tianyu's matters. He returned to Tianhuang City. He didn't take the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Instead, he tore open the array on the city wall and jumped into the Nirvana Ocean. After flying for a while, Night Sorrow reached the area where the Nirvana storm was more violent. He sank to the bottom of the Nirvana Ocean. Night Sorrow found that the Nirvana storm was a little weak. It wasn't suitable for him to cultivate. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow took out the Clear Sky God Pagoda and enlarged it. The Clear Sky God Pagoda continued to rise. When it was only a few dozen feet above the ocean, Night Sorrow felt it was enough. He landed at the top of the Clear Sky Pagoda and began to cultivate. He continued to comprehend the power of heaven and earth. After sleeping for 700 years, all of Night Sorrow's attributes were at the Emperor rank. Even the life attribute that he hadn't cultivated before was at the Emperor rank. Moreover, it was at the 2-star Emperor rank. Now, Night Sorrow planned to cultivate wholeheartedly. He wanted to break through the void, destruction, and space-time attributes. It would be even better if he could reach the peak Emperor rank. The scene of Night Sorrow entering the Nirvana Ocean naturally couldn't be hidden from the Tianhuang City Lord and the others. This little fella really has a fighting spirit. He actually entered the Nirvana Ocean to cultivate. No one has done this before. The Grand Elder lamented. Therefore, he hopes that he has a positive attitude. He didn't slack off just because he reached the 8-star Emperor rank. The Tianhuang City Lord looked in the direction of Night Sorrow's cultivation and said, "Time. What he needs now is time. He is about to enter the 9th era. In other words, there is still one era left. He must reach that height. Otherwise, he won't be able to pass the god-destroying calamity." King Yawu said. He was very worried about Night Sorrow. It's enough. What's his cultivation speed now? His lifespan is only close to 1,000 years. Because he is young, his fate and aura are very sufficient. He is advancing rapidly and is unstoppable. the Grand Elder said. He was very envious of Night Sorrow's youth. After living for 8 eras, they were all a little tired. Before this reincarnation cycle ends, if we can't pass it, we will fall. I hope to see him rise again. That would be enough for us. The Tianhuang City Lord said softly. The Green Rock Race's people are here. Patriarch and elders are together. Is something the matter? The Tianhuang City Lord looked in the direction of the teleportation array. Chapter 1974. After hearing Tian Yunlan's intentions, the Grand Elder smiled. I'm not the only one who can be a witness. These two are fine too. The human sovereign's sister is getting married. This is a joyous occasion. Your Green Rock clan has profited greatly. Thank you, Grand Elder, for your support. With the City Lord and King Yawu here, I believe this will be a grand occasion. Tian Yunlan's face was full of smiles. Then, the group took the teleportation array and rushed towards the Ethereal Dynasty. When they arrived at the Ethereal Dynasty, Elder Lon in the City Lord's mansion knew. He quickly informed Lin Piaomiao and brought them to the VIP tower. After Lin Piaomiao received the news, she told Night Sorrow, who was drinking with the Humanitarian League. Night Sorrow's clone had been accompanying Pu Luo and the Great Demon King from the Humanitarian League. Yes. Look at the original version of Chapter A, Section DT. So many people came. Are they here to express their sincerity or to denounce me? Don't worry. I'll take them on. Night Sorrow finished the wine in his cup and stood up. Brother, don't get into a conflict with others. Yin Yanxiao, who had also returned home, was a little worried. Don't worry. If I can't make the decision for my sister, then there's no point in living. If anyone dares to suppress me on this matter, I dare to fight the world. Night Sorrow was a little angry. Then, the Humanitarian League group arrived at the Ethereal Dynasty. Night Sorrow told the Humanitarian League to stay in Yiyu Manor. He wanted to go to the Ethereal Dynasty's VIP tower to take a look. I'm not going. They're here to propose marriage. Do we have to go and pay them a visit? The Great Demon King was also a little angry. I'm not going to see the Green Rock clan. The City Lord, my martial uncle, and the Grand Elder are here. I have to go and pay them a visit. Night Sorrow said. Let's go together and see what's going on. Pu Luo said. Then, the group arrived at the Ethereal Dynasty's VIP tower. Seeing the arrival of Night Sorrow, the mayor, King Yawu, and the Grand Elder were all very happy. The mayor even cancelled the energy in his body and returned to the real body of Tran Hung, the rider of the Celestial Demon List. Looking at Night Sorrow's aura, King Yawu knew that Night Sorrow had misunderstood. Night Sorrow, it seems that you have some misunderstanding. Patriarch Qing Pang and Elder Yun Lan came to propose marriage. They felt that it wasn't grand enough, so they invited Martial Uncle, City Lord Chen, and Grand Elder to be witnesses. Lord Human Emperor, I am Tian Yun Lan of the Green Rock clan. I was entrusted by the ancestor to come to the 9 regions world to propose marriage with the Patriarch. Because Yin Yanxiao is Lord Human Emperor's only sister, in order to make it grand, we invited the 3 of you to be witnesses. Tian Yunlan said. So that's how it is. I, Night Sorrow, have gauged the heart of a gentleman with my own yardstick. My apologies. Then, please move to Star Moon City. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards the Green Rock clan's people and nodded towards Tianyu. Tian Yun Song cupped his hands towards Night Sorrow in return. At this moment, he had a higher opinion of Night Sorrow because Night Sorrow was a person who was what he was. He had come in anger because of a misunderstanding. After speaking, he didn't try to cover up his embarrassment. He directly explained it in a straightforward manner. It wasn't shameful at all. After arriving at Star Moon City, Night Sorrow sent someone to inform his parents and Yin Yanxiao to come over. Now that they were here, the matter of marriage had to be discussed. Furthermore, knowing that the other party attached great importance to this matter and had even invited the 3 big shots of the 100 Races Alliance, Night Sorrow's attitude became a lot better. When others gave him face, he had to accept it. When face was returned, it had to be returned. Both sides had a good discussion because Night Sorrow's starting point was for the sake of Tianyu and Yin Yanxiao. He didn't make things difficult for them at all. Domain Lord Night, after they get married, Where would be suitable for them to live? We need to arrange it. How about Misty Imperial City? Tian Yunlan asked. Knight Sorrow didn't accept the title of Human Emperor, so Tian Yunlan changed it to Domain Lord Knight. That's up to them. They can live wherever they want. I'll take care of the family business. I've spent some time in the celestial realm, so I have some family business. In truth, Tianyu is as important to me as my younger sister. You might not understand this, but Tianyu and I have known each other since we were in our teens. We've fought side by side, and we've fought countless life and death battles together. We're not blood brothers, but we're better than blood brothers. My children call him Uncle, Knight Sorrow said. Tianyu stood up and walked over to Knight Sorrow to hug Knight Sorrow. We understand. We're truly happy for Tianyu. Tian Yunlan cupped her hands towards Knight Sorrow. Domain Lord Knight, I, Skycloud, am a straightforward person. There are some things that I have to say. You can call me shameless, but I still have to ask. You can say whatever you want about Tianyu and Yin Yanxiao. I don't have any objections at all. But what will the child's surname be? He's the only heir of the Azure Rock clan's patriarch's bloodline. Skycloud rose to his feet and looked at Knight Sorrow. Big brother, Domain Lord Knight, please don't take offense. Tian Yunlan glanced at Tian Yunlan anxiously. It's fine. Azure Rock clan leader, you're overthinking things. Knight Sorrow admires your straightforwardness. I, Knight Sorrow, am not an unreasonable person. Their child will be the child of your Azure Rock clan. Naturally, the child will have the surname of your Azure Rock clan. I'm just the child's uncle. Knight Sorrow laughed as he helped Skycloud sit down. Many thanks. Skycloud clasped his hands towards Knight Sorrow. He was truly grateful to Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow had thought of everything perfectly, and hadn't made things difficult for him. So you know you're shameless. Did you arrange Tianyu's marriage? Did you ask for my permission? An old man in white robes led a man into the hall. Emperor Tang and Lu Qi followed behind them. Grand Elder, the Black Phoenix clan leader is coming. Emperor Tang can't stop him. Emperor Tang spoke up. Lu Qi stood to one side, his posture guarded. It's fine. You two, sit down and drink some water. The Grand Elder nodded to Emperor Tang and Lu Qi. He knew things were going to be troublesome. Xian Zhenggang, what are you trying to do? Once this is over, you can say whatever you want. Skycloud said. I'm trying to do something? The Governor, Emperor Yawu, and Grand Elder are all here. Let's settle our differences. Is it true that your son kidnapped my only daughter? The Black Phoenix clan leader clasped his hands in greeting, then pointed a finger at Skycloud. It's been many years, so I won't argue with you. Let's be honest. You lost a daughter, and I lost my only son. He was the only heir to the Azure Rock clan. Now that my grandson has returned, you shouldn't cause any more trouble. Once this is over, I'll go to the Black Phoenix clan and apologize. Skycloud said. But why do you keep stopping me from seeing my grandson? The Black Phoenix clan leader asked. You keep trying to kidnap people. Who would dare let you see them? Skycloud explained. My daughter is missing. Can't I see my grandson? Let's be reasonable. Tian Yunlan pulled the Black Phoenix clan leader to a seat. How about this? You two families should stop bickering. Just take it that your two families are officially receiving a bride, and your son and daughter are not at home. Now that the child is at home and the child is about to get married, the grandson should be the grandson, 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 the grandson should be. The grandson should be the grandson, 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 the Chapter 1975. Isn't this too much? You have a daughter who's about to get married. How can you have designs on the Green Rock clan's young master's child? Song Tian was a little anxious. What? If you don't agree, then no one will be happy. The Black Phoenix clan leader glared at Song Tian. Black Phoenix clan leader, there's no point in this. Today is the day of the engagement. The Grand Elder said. Xian Zhenggang, if you cause trouble, we Green Rock clan won't say anything. But today is the day of Tianyu's engagement. Is it appropriate for you to involve so many people? Song Tian said. I'm causing trouble. What's wrong? The Black Phoenix clan leader glared at Song Tian. He didn't want to let things go. At this moment, Yi Shang, who was originally sitting down, stood up and said, Whatever you want to do has nothing to do with our primal chaos realm. This is Star Moon City. Today, my sister Yi Shang is getting married. My brother Yi Shang is getting married. If you want to cause trouble, please change the time. The Black Phoenix clan leader is fine. The Sky City leader looked at the Black Phoenix clan leader and spat out 4 words. He was clearly unhappy. The Black Phoenix clan was a divine beast clan. It didn't matter if they were arrogant. But now, they came to Xingyue City to cause trouble. They didn't give face to Night Sorrow and the Chaos Realm. My father has a bad temper. All these years, he's been thinking about my sister. His words were a little rude. I hope the Sky City leader and the Night Sorrow Realm leader won't mind. The white-robed man who came with the Black Phoenix clan leader said. At the same time, he pulled the Black Phoenix clan leader back a step. No matter what grudges you had in the past, today is the day of the child's engagement. It's a joyous occasion. Put everything else aside. King Yawu also spoke. It's a good thing that the Black Phoenix clan leader is here. Everyone, sit down and continue the conversation. Elder Tian Yunlan gave the Black Phoenix clan leader a way out. The Black Phoenix clan leader's expression was ugly. He sat down without saying anything because the white-robed man sent him a message. The leaders of the 100 races had received a message from the Council of Elders. They all knew about the birth of the human sovereign. The Black Phoenix Patriarch came to Star Moon City to make a ruckus. He didn't want to give Night Sorrow, the virtuous sovereign, any face. The leader of the Black Phoenix race wanted to cause trouble with the Green Rock race, but he forgot that he would offend Night Sorrow if he did so. The white-robed man reminded him just now. Child, you're Tianyu, right? I'm your uncle, Xian He. I heard that you got married, so your grandfather prepared a congratulatory gift and prepared a mansion for you in the divine capital. The man in white nodded at Tianyu with a smile on his face. His smile was filled with sadness and love. Tianyu greets uncle. Tianyu stood up and bowed to Xian He. Good child, you look very much like your mother, but with a little more determination. Very good. Uncle doesn't have anything to give you. Here are some battle techniques I researched. Take a look. Xian He handed a book to Tianyu. My 13th brother said that I won't accept any gifts when I get married. He'll take care of everything. But I'll accept uncle's gift. Tianyu nodded. Because the Black Phoenix Patriarch and Xian He had arrived, Tian Yunlan told them about the agreement between the Yi family and the Green Rock race. Rich and overbearing. The Black Phoenix Patriarch glanced at Night Sorrow. I don't have much capital, but taking care of my sister and brother is something I, Night Sorrow, can do. Night Sorrow didn't stand on ceremony. Thank you, brother. Tianyu could see that Night Sorrow didn't care about offending anyone for him and Yin Yanxiao. Thank you, brother. Yin Yanxiao sat down beside Night Sorrow. You don't have to be so courteous with me. What's the point of having me? I'm here to protect you from any grievances. Whether it's in front of others or behind others, I'll say it. If anyone dares to give you any face, I'll fight to the end, said Night Sorrow. He was expressing his attitude to everyone. That won't happen. Nian Xiao is the Yi family's treasure. In the future, she'll also be the treasure of our Green Rock race. Don't worry. Tian Yunlan rejoiced in her heart. If it were anyone else, it would be very difficult to discuss the marriage. Night Sorrow was truly domineering. I'm very sorry. Night Sorrow's words were a bit rough and made everyone unhappy. I'll apologize later. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Tian Yunlan. Next, the wedding date was set. It would be held in 3 months. The wedding would be held in Star Moon City. After arranging the guests' accommodations, Night Sorrow and Tianyu went to Star Moon Lake to enjoy the breeze. Tianyu, Brother 13's attitude today is a bit extreme. Don't mind him, said Night Sorrow to Tianyu. Brother 13, let's not talk about this between us. Others don't understand you, but I do. My grandfather and the others went overboard. They didn't give others any face, said Tianyu. Actually, it's not important. You and Yan Xiao are better than anything else. Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and handed it to Tianyu. At this time, in the VIP building of Star Moon Island, King Yawu was sitting in the main seat. The Patriarch of the Green Rock race and the Patriarch of the Black Phoenix race were all present. The City Lord of Tianhuang City was sitting in the guest seat, drinking tea. Xian Zhengang, are you here to cause trouble? Do you think you can cause trouble here? King Yawu's face was cold because he was very angry. No, Lord King Yawu, you misunderstood. The Patriarch of the Black Phoenix race, Xian Zhengang, hurriedly explained. The Black Phoenix race was very strong, but they weren't qualified to challenge King Yawu. If you want to cause trouble in the future, look at the situation. I sent a message to you. Night Sorrow is the Emperor of the human race, the Emperor of the 100 Races Alliance, and the Deluxe Merit Emperor. Do you think the Black Phoenix race is lucky and fated to go against the Deluxe Merit Emperor? King Yawu slammed his hand on the armrest of his chair. The armrest of the chair was fine, but there was an explosion in the air. Lord King Yawu, please calm down. My father was just complaining. He didn't mean any harm, explained Xian He. If you really want to cause trouble, who will stand on the Black Phoenix race's side? The Bloodscale race and Night Sorrow are close friends. The Prince of the Golden Dragon race is his sworn brother. The new Emperor of the Ice Phoenix race is his concubine. The Nine-Tailed Fox race has a good relationship with him. Don't you know the strength of the Humanitarian League? Haven't you thought about the consequences? King Yawu glared at Xian Tiangang. Xian Tiangang didn't say anything. He knew that King Yawu was Night Sorrow's backer. He was the most terrifying backer. Lord King Yawu, please calm down. The leader of the Black Phoenix race may not have thought so much, said Tian Yunlan. I'll say a few words. Since King Yawu has said what happened today, I won't emphasize it again. I'll talk about the future. It's a fact that Night Sorrow is the Emperor of the human race. His title is the Immortal Godly Emperor. This represents his personal achievements, but it also represents the future of the celestial realm. He's the savior of the celestial realm. He's the only chance for the celestial realm to survive the last reincarnation. If anyone goes against him, I'll deal with them without asking who's right or wrong. Do you think I'm selfish? Do you think I'm selfish and useless? Which race in the heaven realm doesn't follow this rule? I won't tolerate it. Also, I'm a human. The City Lord put down the teacup in his hand and said. Chapter 1976. Domineering, overbearing. If King Yanwu's reprimand had left some face, then the desolate City Lord's words didn't leave any leeway at all. He clearly told everyone that he would deal with anyone who didn't like Yi Shang, regardless of who was right or wrong. Xian Fenggang understands. I was a little confused today. Xian Zhengang bowed to the mayor and King Yawu. At this time, he had no choice but to admit his mistake. The first part of the mayor's words was based on the general situation of the celestial realm, from the perspective of the 100 Races Alliance. The second part was from the perspective of the human race, which unconditionally supported Night Sorrow. If he went against the human race, then the mayor would speak as a human. All right, that's all. Let's put this matter behind us. The marriage between your two races needs to be reconsidered. The mayor's tone was a little calmer. You two stubbornly blocked the marriage of your son and daughter. What about now? Their son is about to get married. What's the point? Tell them to come back. The Grand Elder said with a smile. We did tell them to come back, but they ignored us. Song Tianyun said. That depends on the situation. Their son is about to get married. How can they not come back? You two send the same message, make some promises, and they will come back. The Grand Elder shook his head helplessly. The human race was still the most knowledgeable about the ways of the world. Night Sorrow and Tianyu sat side by side, talking about their life in the bamboo forest peak. Yin Yen smiled and brought a jar of wine to the two of them. Although I offended some people today, I'm really happy. Night Sorrow stretched out his arms and hugged Tianyu and Yin Yen. My grandfather and grandfather may think that I haven't been living well these years. In fact, I think it's been very good. Because of wind and rain, Brother 13 has always stood in front of me. Brother 13, you have to leave a place for me in the bamboo forest peak. We met there and rose there. Tianyu said, although you're not a disciple of Medicine Valley, I think no one will object if I ask. Night Sorrow smiled. Not a disciple of Medicine Valley? It doesn't matter. I'll join. I want to be a protector or something in the Medicine Valley. Eldest senior brother and the others won't refuse, Tianyu said with a smile. All right, leave it to me. Night Sorrow nodded. After the business in the VIP tower was finished, the mayor and his companions went to the top of the tower and drank tea while looking at the lake. Naturally, they saw Night Sorrow and his companions who were sitting on a rock next to the lake. It's good to be young. The Grand Elder sighed. They're such good brothers. It's rare for Tianyu to have a brother like that. Perhaps this is his greatest gain since coming to Nanumbra. Skycloud said. Brothers, it's rare to be brothers. Back then, there were 4 of us, but now there are only 3 left. King Yawu lowered his voice. The city lord patted King Yawa's shoulder. Night Sorrow has achieved so much. I have no regrets. Skycloud and Xian Vengang looked at each other. They realized there were many things they didn't know. There are some things you don't know. I'm not trying to hide them, but there's no need to mention them. In the last reincarnation, they fought with the human emperor against the winged demon. There were 4 emperors who survived. They came from different sects, but they were all good friends and brothers. Later, 2 of them went to Tianhuang City and the other 2 went to the divine capital, the Grand Elder said. By now, Tian Yunsong and the others knew who the 4 people were. They were none other than the City Lord, the Great Elder, King Yawu, and the Unparalleled Sword Emperor. Only 3 people remained because the Unparalleled Sword Emperor, Yan Wushuang, had perished. This relationship made Song Skycloud and Xian Vengang understand why the human race had always been so united. It was because the 3 most powerful leaders of the human race were brothers. Yawu, when we went to Night Moon Villa to take the teleportation, did you notice a team in the mansion? The City Lord asked. I did. It should be the famous god-slaying team in the past few hundred years. Their overall strength is not bad. The rarest thing is that they're young and full of vigor. King Yawu nodded. I plan to hold a meeting with the elders of the 100 races when we go back. I suggest that we focus on training these young people. They'll definitely be the backbone of the battle against the winged demon in the future, the City Lord said. Okay. If the meeting doesn't agree, we'll send them to the divine capital and train them ourselves. King Yawu nodded. Tianhuang City was the city of the 100 Races Alliance. It was built to defend against the winged demon, while the divine capital was the city of the human race. The 100 races developed in the divine capital, but the human race had the right to speak. That won't happen. The City Lord, King Yawu, and the Great Elder have been working hard for the stability of the Heaven Realm. All the clans of the 100 Clans Alliance have seen this, the Xuanwan clan leader said. Although he was scolded, he recognized the City Lord and the other 2's perspective on the overall situation. I've thought about it in the past, but Night Sorrow was in a coma. It wasn't appropriate to mention it, so I put it aside. This time, we can mention it when we go back. Also, we have to talk to Night Sorrow. They won't agree just because we want to. Night Sorrow treasures the people around him, the Grand Elder said with a smile. There's one more thing to deal with. I've been traveling around the world recently and found that their people are investigating the Heaven's Vault tribe. There's probably something wrong. If we don't deal with it in time, the Heaven's Vault tribe will be crushed. The City Lord pointed at Night Sorrow's direction with his chin. Someone's stirring up trouble again. They're really restless. But there shouldn't be any problems in the near future. They won't use their weapons until there's a happy occasion. The Grand Elder shook his head helplessly. The people of Star Moon City won't, but what about the Human Alliance? We know the Demon King's personality. I really wonder if it was the right decision to let him follow you. If he becomes the Grand Elder, will there still be peace? The city lord rubbed his short hair with his hand. Knight Sorrow had indeed sent people to investigate the Heaven's Vault tribe because someone from the Chaos Realm had died in the Heaven's Vault tribe. This didn't mean that Knight Sorrow would take revenge whenever someone from the Chaos Realm died. It was because the two of them had come to the Celestial Realm in order to break the shackles of the Nine Realms world. It was for the sake of the Chaos Realm. Under such circumstances, it was natural for the people of the Chaos Realm to take revenge. The dead couldn't be wronged in the underworld. Knight Sorrow is a straightforward person. Just ask him what happened and he'll understand. If it's a small matter, but if the Heaven's Vault tribe did something evil, then there's nothing we can do, Song Tian said. After chatting with Tianyu and Yin Yan for a while, Knight Sorrow thought of Long Jin and the dragon language. He still had some questions to discuss with the dragon language. He was almost certain that the disappearance of the black dragons had something to do with Mo Tianji. The new fastest. Carrot. Chapter 1977. Leaving Tianyu and Yin Yanxiao to talk alone, Knight Sorrow got up and left. He took the teleportation array and arrived at Night Moon Villa, where he found Long Jin and Dragon Language. Brother, did Tianyu and Yanxiao's matter go smoothly? Dragon Language asked. There were some twists and turns, but it went very smoothly. Right now, I'm worried about you too. Long Jin, is there any problem with your uncle? Knight Sorrow asked. There's no problem. I gave him a heads up. Long Jin nodded. If there's no problem on your side, then things are settled. Dragon Language, I'm still worried about you. I can foresee that the black dragons are definitely in cahoots with Mo Tianji. I don't know when they'll attack our Star Moon City and the Nine Domain world. This will make things difficult for you. Why don't you and Long Jin's true body go live in the Nine Domain world after the wedding? Knight Sorrow said. Brother, you don't have to worry about Dragon Language. There's nothing difficult about it. Regardless of whether you're a human or a dragon, there's a scale in your heart. You'll know what's right and what's wrong. Thank you, brother. Dragon Language nodded. She knew that Knight Sorrow was much younger than her, but after hearing Knight Sorrow's words, she felt at ease. We're siblings, so there's naturally no need to be so polite. Long Jin, how's your cultivation of the techniques I told you about last time? If you have any questions, you can ask me. Knight Sorrow asked. I've already researched fire. Furthermore, I've changed our dragon's ultimate technique, Dragon Traversing the Nine Heavens, into my Dragon Traversing the Nine Heavens. In addition, I've also cultivated a blade technique. Then I'm relieved. Right, let's take a look around and see if there's a suitable mansion. Tianyu's about to get married, so I'll have to buy a mansion nearby. Knight Sorrow smiled. Following this, the three of them went out. The price wasn't a problem, as long as they liked it. Yi Shan successfully bought a mansion. But under the confused gazes of Long Jin and Dragon Language, Knight Sorrow bought a second set. Then, Long Jin understood. He patted Knight Sorrow's shoulder heavily because he understood that Knight Sorrow had prepared this for him. Long Jin, why don't you talk to your uncle and propose marriage as well? You and Tianyu can get married together. Knight Sorrow said. All right, then I'll go back first. Long Jin thought for a moment and nodded. After Long Jin left, Knight Sorrow nodded at Dragon Language. Sister, don't worry. Big brother will marry you off in a grand manner. It definitely won't be any less ostentatious than any other clan. Dragon Language nodded. She knew that Knight Sorrow did not have much interaction with her, but Knight Sorrow was exiled to help her, so she was very grateful. After returning to the Golden Dragon clan, Long Jin explained the situation to his uncle. The black dragons have a sensible princess. That's good. She's very suitable for our Golden Dragon clan. It can be considered as giving the black dragons a chance to live. Propose marriage, that's fine. Now that the Desolate City's City Lord and the others are in Star Moon City, Uncle will make a trip there. Golden Dragon King sighed. In the past few hundred years, he had been very unhappy. The black dragons had disappeared. As the clan leader of the dragons, the black dragons were part of the Black Dragon clan. The current situation was not something he was willing to see. Long Jin's proposal was much easier than the Azure Rock clan's proposal. Because Night Sorrow did not have any requests. The Golden Dragon clan only had the Golden Dragon King and Long Jean. There was no need for dragon language to be angered by anyone. The date was the same as Tianyu and Yin Yanxiao's. They were all married on the same day. The guests stayed for a few days before leaving Star Moon City. They could feel the aura of a new force in Star Moon City. The Desolate City's city lord, King Yawu, the Grand Elder, and Night Sorrow said that they wanted to focus on nurturing the god-slaying squad. Seniors, there's naturally no problem on my side. However, the god-slaying squad is too young and lacking in strength. They can't be compared to the other Heaven Wasteland armies, Night Sorrow said. We chose them not just because they're young. They're all talents. It's just that they've been overshadowed by your excellence. They're all incredible talents no matter where they are, the Grand Elder said. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow could no longer refuse. He agreed to bring everyone to Desolate City after Long Jean and Tianyu's wedding. The days passed peacefully. Night Sorrow's main body stayed in Nirvana Ocean and analyzed the Nirvana Storm's heaven and earth momentum that strengthened his attributes. When the reincarnation Nirvana flames invaded his divine sea, Night Sorrow raised his destruction attribute heaven and earth willpower to 89%. His space-time attribute, death attribute, and life attribute all had significant improvements. This was because these 5 attributes were formed from the forbidden attribute reincarnation. After comprehending by analogy, his void attribute rose to 87%. This was because Night Sorrow's innate attribute was the most compatible. In his current cultivation state, Night Sorrow felt that his void attribute's heaven and earth momentum was increasing the fastest, followed by the death and life attributes. The destruction and space-time attributes' heaven and earth momentum were bottlenecks. Unless he didn't comprehend them, as long as he comprehended them, he would be able to enter 9-star Emperor, which was the peak Emperor rank. With improvements, Night Sorrow was happy. This was because he had the opportunity to comprehend by analogy. Attributes were either connected or relative. Destruction and death had many similarities. Void, destruction, and space-time also had similarities. Staying at the bottom of the Nirvana Ocean, Night Sorrow cultivated in peace. The celestial realm seemed to have calmed down. Night Sorrow's clone stayed in Star Moon City to cultivate and improve his spear arts. Although the Blood Qilin Evil Punishing Spear was different from the Reincarnation Heavenly Halberd, Night Sorrow was used to the Blood Qilin Evil Punishing Spear. On this day, Night Sorrow was cultivating when Blue Luan came. Seeing Blue Luan come, Night Sorrow was stunned. This was because the profound Ice Qilin Tiger was beside her. The profound Ice Qilin Tiger had always been cultivating in 9 grand floors. Why? Because the profound Ice Qilin Tiger was a bit slow and wasn't suited to interact with people. 9 grand floors was rather quiet. Also, Night Sorrow didn't need a mount. Or rather, it wasn't suitable for him to use a mount. Who would dare to use a king rank mount in a battle between emperors? Domain attacks and energy attacks were all fatal. Seeing Night Sorrow, the profound Ice Qilin Tiger roared and went to Night Sorrow's side. Night Sorrow had to raise his hand to touch the profound Ice Qilin Tiger's head. The profound Ice Qilin Tiger used its head to hit Night Sorrow's hand. The profound Ice Qilin Tiger had cultivated for 700 years and was now an overlord. Junior brother, this fella has been sleeping for the past 700 years. It even sleeps for 100 years and doesn't talk to anyone. However, it hasn't been peaceful for the past 2 months, so I had to bring it here, Blue Luan said. Then let it stay in Star Moon City from now on. Ice Qilin, this is your home. Don't hurt anyone. Do whatever you want. Night Sorrow patted the Ice Qilin's neck again. The Ice Qilin Tiger's body shook and roared. It left Night Sorrow's side and rushed into Star Moon Lake. Something's wrong. Lu Qi went to Night Sorrow's side. 7th Elder, do you also feel that something is wrong? Night Sorrow looked at Lu Qi. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.